what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour.
Yes, hello, and welcome to episode 126. Thank you for joining us tonight. And speaking of joining us, we have a guest. We have a returning guest. I think he was the third guest we ever had on the podcast back in episode 47. Mm-hmm. You know him. We know him as George. You know him as G to the next level. G, how you doing, man?
Hey, I'm doing awesome. How y'all doing today?
Good. Welcome
been missing
back.
you, man. It's been too long. I know we've been talking about hopefully one day being able to meet up at a good convention, and unfortunately, those plans changed over the year. But
of course,
we're glad to have you back in any way we can. How you been, man?
I've been awesome. Just basically doing my thing. Just been playing retro games, making videos about retro games, streaming about retro games, and hopefully writing about retro games and modern games and every now and then too.
doing his thing, Johnny Humble over here. Because recently you made a little announcement.
That's right. Yeah, I made an announcement that for the first time now, after doing YouTube for about 4 years, actually really 5 years technically, basically about 5 years, and basically going into Twitch and doing things so well there, that I actually have decided that I am going to attempt to do this full time, at least for to see how well this goes, to do content creation as a whole full time. So I'm going to be doing a lot more streaming on Twitch. New YouTube videos are coming. I actually just recorded 3 for on-screen portions for 3 new episodes today, like earlier today before we got started. So yeah, hitting the ground running. Exactly, it's like hitting the ground running on it. So, and I'm revamping all of the other ways to support the channel as well. A couple of really big things coming through on YouTube I can't talk about yet, but keep your eyes on it very soon. It's good stuff. But
now,
yeah.
G, where would people find this full-time content of yours?
So you can find me on YouTube, YouTube at G to the next level, like welcome to the next level, but with a G, like me. And you can also find me on Twitch, twitch.tv/G to the next level. I stream Sundays, Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Fridays. Sometimes Wednesdays. So like sometimes I'll do a Wednesday collab with my wife Ranchan, aka Ranchan Does Things. We'll sometimes do collaborations, like a couples collab, as we call it, like on Wednesdays. And yeah, I try to keep my best to keep to a schedule on there. New YouTube videos I try to put out on Sundays and Tuesdays. Yeah,
so
Sundays or Tuesdays.
The real question is, when are we seeing the G OnlyFans, the G After Dark?
That was something that we talked about a while back. I'm whipping up a very special Patreon tier just for that, you know.
Gee, what are you doing with that Sonic plush? No, G, fuck.
Oh man, people wonder like what happened. It's like he's gone mad.
Dude, well, I want to say cheers, and I presume you're doing a little drinking with us tonight as well.
I did. I grabbed a couple of beers. Now, unfortunately, because as far as I know, they're well out of print. I couldn't get my hands on any more. Damn it, Jim. Unfortunately, but my wife actually did manage to grab a couple of things that she thought I would really like. So I have a Solstice Lager from Stella Artois. So I have that.
They trying to get fancy.
I have a Shiner Sea Salt and Lime, which I have had before, and it's very, very good.
Okay.
And another one that she's like, you know what? I saw this and I thought of you. A Headliner Blonde Ale. It's by St. Arnold. I was like, huh. I have no idea about this one, so why not? But I figured, you know what? I'll go ahead and start with the Stella and see where the night takes me.
Well, let me ask you. So I think we talked about it last time, but like we know Shiner is like the most well-known probably Texas beer we have here, except for like Lone Star. You know, aside from those, is that like really big down there, or is that like kind of conflated to how big it is?
I think it's from what I've seen. I mean, I can't vouch 100%, but from what I've seen, I think it's a little bit more inflated than I would say. I wouldn't really say it's like the end all. I would honestly say I think Shiner actually has a bigger foothold overall in like the southern areas that I've seen. Like more than anything aside from Lone Star, of course, it's Lone Star. It's the cheap beer, so it's like it's the one that'll get you going. But as far as everything else goes, I think Shiner's got a little bit more clout.
Yeah.
That's what I've seen, though.
Shiner also has really interesting flavors. And like you just said, what was it? Sea salt and lime? So, yeah. Nice. Now, what about you, Chambers? What are you sipping on?
I've recently picked up a nice little New Belgium summer sampler pack. So, starting off tonight with the New Belgium Summer Bliss. A tropical wheat. Comes in at 5.5% alcohol per volume. Snap your sips using Summer Bliss stickers on IG stories. Oh.
You didn't say enough S's there, Jim.
There wasn't a comma there either. I can words. But yeah, I had nice little, enjoyable, tasty, goes down smooth summer wheat. So, and after that, I got a good old fashioned Voodoo Ranger over here. So,
Nice.
Classic. Yeah.
I'll
Very
break
nice.
into that.
I found one of my what I call my bottom drawer beers, which is just leftovers I had from various other 4-packs and 6-packs. It's the Free Will Brewing Company's chocolate caramel cookie sharing size.
Ooh.
And I've reviewed this one. I've talked about this one. They made a whole bunch of these specialty, but this is like the Crown Royal of them. It's the Imperial Oatmeal Stout with chocolate, caramel, graham cracker, and milk sugar.
Oh, that sounds good.
It is delicious. It's 10.4% alcohol.
Ooh.
So it's a strong boy. I've already been sipping pretty decently in my Ron Burgundy glass. But
Nice.
it's delicious. I mean, this is the epitome of a dessert beer. I can't recommend it enough. I hope they bring this shit back. Free Will, don't fuck it up. And they actually put effort into their label, which always is a plus for me. So
Nice. I know, like a couple episodes back, you were drinking. Was it you or was it Jim that was drinking like a Hershey's brand beer? And
Oh,
I was just
the-
like, oh, that sounded really,
The
really
Hershey
good.
Porter. Yeah, the Yingling.
Yeah.
yeah, I had it a while ago. Jim had it, yeah, probably a couple episodes. Yeah, it was when some breweries do it right. When they do chocolate right, it's really good. Then there's others, for whatever reason, it tastes like really fake chocolate. It's not as good of an idea. But no, that Hershey's one was good too. But like I said, this one knocks the dick off of that beer. This is just really, really good.
Nice.
Now, let me ask you, G. First, I mean, like I said, congratulations again. If you're not already following them, please definitely support them extra. Doing that full time, that's brave shit, man. I'm very envious. But, you know, with that transition you did from YouTube to Twitch, have you been enjoying it? Like, was it whole new ground for you, or were you already kind of dipping your toes in Twitch before that?
Well, it was more or less just kind of dipping my toes through because I want to just basically say that like I'm not complete because I know a lot of people have asked me that because it had been a while since I put out a YouTube video. So like a lot of people are asking like, hey, have you gone all the way to the quote unquote the dark side? Like have you gone to Twitch like all the way over? And I was like, no, it's just that Twitch just managed to hit me in a different sort of way. And especially when like you're still going through like I don't want to completely like wax nostalgic or anything like that, but when I first started doing Twitch, I was actually kind of going through a rough period. Like I wasn't really. It was right around the same time we had that winter storm and the house flooded and all that kind of stuff. So it was really the companionship and the friendship that I got from the people that I met through Twitch that actually encouraged me to keep going and keep going. And then I thought to myself, I was like, well, you know, if we keep going with this, I build up YouTube. I've got the support, hopefully, that will come through on it. Then I at least want to try this once. You know, that's the one thing I've always thought to myself since I first started doing YouTube. I always wanted to try to see if I could make this a thing just once. And I know it's not cut for everybody. It's a lot of pressure. I'm not going to lie. There are some days I'm just like, I don't know if I can do this. But then I have to think to myself, I'm just like, you know what? I believe that I can, and I believe that I can do it, you know? And then my wife, who's been extremely supportive, like some of my best friends in the world have been like extremely supportive. It's like, I feel like that I can, but at the same time, it's finding that balance, you know, and that's why I've been trying to, and, you know, funny me and trying to come back to YouTube that the first video I decided to tackle on is like an hour-plus video, so it's like, ooh, well, and it's something that I know Jim is really excited about, that it's basically I chronicled the entire library of the Sega 32X. So, like, that's going to be, and it's one that I've actually wanted to do since I first started doing YouTube. I wanted to do this project for a while, and I figured this would be a good way to kick things off and start things, I guess, sort of afresh, but with a new found lease on it. And Twitch has actually been that big kind of pushing forward, but I don't want to leave, you know, Twitch handy. So,
Sure.
yeah.
And I mean, I think Jim and I have said, like, it's funny. We've seen a lot of people complaining or saying, like, hey, there's been issues with YouTube. The algorithms have been extra fuckery is the best word I'll use. They've just been, to everyone across the board, it seems like, whether you're being shadow banned, whether you're whatever, you probably left right at the right time. Just be like, you know what? Let me take a quick little pause, get your reset with Twitch. And I know you mentioned before the podcast, but It is interesting. I found myself too, like sometimes I just want to stream on Twitch because it's games that I might not necessarily do a review for, but I want to play, and there's that mentality that I think too many of us content creators have where you don't want to waste the footage. So somehow you want to capture it, and Twitch seems like, okay, instead of just storing 64 gigs on my hard drive, I'll just stream it on Twitch and it'll live there for now.
Right. Unless if you have, like, you're like me, you have, like, crazy overlays and, like, emotes on your wall and all that kind of stuff. That's where things get a little bit murky on that. But, yeah, but then in, like, perfect example, it kind of goes the other way around, too, because it's like, hey, I was just streaming a game on Twitch that maybe I wasn't necessarily going to make a YouTube video about, and then I've decided to make a full YouTube video. And, like, I know on my last channel update that I did for YouTube, I said that I was actually going to be putting one of my series on hold, the Treasure Chest. I was actually putting that series on hold, which I guess technically I did. But now, after playing one game, which I'm going to talk about a little bit later once we get into our next couple of subjects, that I've decided, okay, I'm actually going to reopen the Treasure Chest. If not just for this one game, and maybe some other games in the future. But there's a lot going on for YouTube that I've been talking about, and I'm just like, okay, so you've made all this talk. Now it's time to walk.
I hear
That's
you.
what it is.
Nice.
Now, gee, I got to ask you, collector to collector, you've actually recently been doing a little dumping. And as someone with a hoarding problem, as like myself, I want to know, how has the transition to that been, to actually like cutting the cord and letting go on nearly complete things or almost basically complete stuff?
It's actually been a lot less painful than I thought it was going to be. I mean, like, a lot less painful, because, so what Jim's referring to is that it's been about a month now. It's been about a month now. I recently took some time off of my old job, and randomly, and it happened out of nowhere. Like, this went from, hey, I might be selling a couple of games, to, okay, you just sold half your collection to one guy. Like, I didn't even realize that was going to happen, because it was basically with the Sega Saturn. And throughout the entire trip, like, I basically drove 4 hours to this guy to meet up with him. I made about $6,000 in one day, selling like half my Saturn collection. And it was a rough drive going up there, but then I realized, okay, how badly are you going to regret this? This is something you've been trying to go for your entire life, but, well, not your entire life, but, you know, a good chunk of your life. This is something you've been trying to go for a good chunk of your life. How are you going to feel after that? Are you sure? But then I had to really think to myself, and another fellow guest that you've had before, too, really put things in perspective. Steve Wright, Mr. Rightway. Like, he actually put things in really good perspective. He's like, hey, you know, you've had these things in your life. If you've lived that dream for a while, now it's time for you to pursue a different sort of dream. And sometimes, if you have to do that, sacrifices need to be made. You know, opportunities can only come once in a while. Games can be rebought.
Yep.
So it's like life only happens once. Games can sometimes cycle through over and over again, and especially with the Saturn now, and even double so the Sega CD, which that one I've really thinned out my library on. The thing is that there's still other ways to play the game. There is lots of proof out there that I've had these games in the past. Does it really make that much of a difference now having them versus having them back then? Unless you're trying to sell them at like a higher price, not really. You know, but at the same time, I still got much love and much respect for anybody that's trying to go for like full sets and however. And normally the question that I get right after that when people ask me, it's like, oh, so how does it feel to part with these collections? Like, you parted with a good chunk of your Saturn, you parted with a good chunk of your Master System, you parted with a good chunk of your Sega CD and your PS1. It's like, all right, so when are you going to sell your Genesis collection? And I'm like,
Come on now.
It's like, nice try. This one stays with me.
Gee, I was just going to say, I would fully support if you want to get rid of that stuff and move over to Super NES or something.
Right, you should.
Oh, no. That's just like, I learned today a game. It's like, it's funny because I went to go pick up a random Famicom game today, Getsu Fumaden from Konami. That actually one of my local stores got today, so I made some trades for it. And I was looking in their glass shelf, and they had a copy of Metroid Zero Mission, like a loose copy of Metroid Zero Mission for Game Boy Advance. It was $199.
What the?
$109. I was like, whoa, when did this become a $200 game? And then I thought to myself, as like, I have that game complete in box. It's mint. And I looked to see how much it is complete in box. I'm like, I can let this go. It's like, it's one of those things of like, hey, I don't feel that closely to it. Same thing with Sega CD. Like, I love the Sega CD, don't get me wrong, but I don't feel about it like I feel about the Genesis. It's like the thing, it's like between Sega CD and Genesis and 32X. Like, Genesis and 32X, they're not going anywhere. But everything else, I'm like, it really all depends. But yeah, from a collector to a collector, I want to see everybody go about their collecting goals for what they want to do. But for me, I think I got to the point, and I'll tell you this. I think it was when, because you all know I was also a big collector on the PlayStation Vita, right? I'm down to like 20 games left in my Vita collection. I had a near complete collection in the US. I'm down to like 20 games. I sold pretty much everything out of that. Because, and I'll tell you, the turning point, I'm probably going to make a YouTube video about this. Like, the turning point,
I know what it
realized,
is.
like, in my collection, yeah, you know what it is, exactly, because I think you were there the day when I vented about it, because I was mad.
Yep.
Was Papers, Please. Like, that was when on the limited run games release of Papers, Please. Again, nothing against limited run. I love them. Nothing against them. But just the sheer fact, I realized I was just like, okay, between this and Super Meat Boy, those are the only 2 games left in my collection. I stood in front of my Vita wall for a good 30 minutes just looking at it. And I was just like, I don't need this.
Yeah.
I really don't. You know, it's like, it was nice to have. It was fun. I've made some great friends along the way. But at the same time, it's like, I think I'm good. You know?
Yeah.
So G kept all of his lewd dating simulators and got rid of everything else.
Hey, those are co-owned. Thank you very much.
I mean,
Hey, my wife is playing Boyfriend Dungeon right now. Come on now.
I feel like a lot of people are. I'm seeing that.
It looks
pop
like a
up
fun
lot.
game, though. It really looks like a fun game.
But here's the deal: like you just said something that really resonated, and there are some games that you're never gonna let go because they're your whatever. They're in your top 10. They're very, like Jim. I use the example like the Streets of Rage 2 and Star Fox 64. No matter how many times he's beat it, he's gonna keep going back, and we all have those. But then there are those games that you're like, they're fun. I beat them a couple times, but when you be honest with yourself, you're like, am I really gonna go back to play this? And if I can quote my good friend Ted DiBiase, everyone's got a price, you know? And,
Not wrong.
you know, like, you see some, when, what's it, Here Comes the Pain, like, that game hit a price point. Now, here's the deal. I have a small-ish collection already. I wasn't going to sell it, but if that's sold, like, oh, it's going for $800, I'd be like, buy. Like,
Yeah.
I know I'm not going back to that. I had a ton of fun with it. I love that game, but yeah, there's like some in my collection where I go, like, what is the value of just keeping it? Like, 'cause then there's that investor mentality that Jim gets sometimes, where it's like, no, this will be valuable in 20 more years. But
See,
That's my retirement.
See, I don't think that way. I try not to look at things like, okay, if I sell this now, like, how much will I lose if I wait another year or something like that? So I'm not like that at all, because it's just like, I could spend that time and waiting and thinking about it, and it may or may not happen, or I could use this to fund another project or something else later on. Like, I want to upgrade my camera. You know, it's like, I would love to upgrade my camera. Guess what? Looking at that Metroid Zero mission, I'm like, that's $400 right now. I could use towards a new camera. I'm like, yeah.
That's half a camera right there.
Yep.
Like,
yep, exactly.
Like, Jim, you got 2 free copies of Def Jam. You should.
Ooh.
I sold the loose copy to Blade Blur. So
Nice. Well, hey, it's in
me
a good
about
home.
it, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's some games where sometimes, like, Steve put it a good way, too. Mr. Rightway. Like, he said, like, there's a bad connotation on resellers and whatnot. Now, there's a difference between you just get a crazy good deal, like a Goodwill, and you take advantage of it. I'm not going out of my way to resell stuff, but yeah, when I do see some game prices fluctuate and they're crazy, yeah, why not sell it to just now move on to your next desire or next game you want to play or whatever it is. So I think that's a great mentality. And especially you now, if you're going full time, it's almost like you can't afford not to do that, you know? Like,
right.
You got to keep trying new stuff at a certain point.
Right, and there are means to play it. Like, now I understand when it comes to going back to Twitch versus YouTube.
Yeah.
It's like, now I know that there are some people, especially in the retro community, that pride on saying, okay, I stream only on original hardware. And I was like, okay, I get that. But to me, I'm just like, I think that's great, but you don't necessarily have to. It's like, it's not like somebody's going to call the police on you. If you have a means of being able to play a game like that, like, say, for example, if you want to play Little Samson on stream, I'm not gonna go tell anybody that, like, oh, you're not gonna spend $2,000 on a cartridge of Little Samson if you just want to play. I played Little Samson on stream. I'm like, you know what? That's fine. And it's like, people enjoyed it, and that's what's most important.
Yeah.
So, and I think it's just like, yeah, I think now, since, I mean, I guess I could say, really, arguably, I've really only been collecting for, I'd say, about the good last 15 to 20 years of my life. And it's interesting, and it might just be, old man G talking now, but it's just, I feel like for the first time, I feel satisfied. With what I have, and if you feel satisfied with what you have, and there are some things that you don't mind letting go of to, make some other things happen, then,
do it.
So be it.
No, I love it. No, I think that's a very, very smart way to be. And like I said, it's part of what I like about doing this podcast is getting different ideas from people. I've said to Jim many times for some guests, and like I said, with Mr. Right Way and what you're saying, it definitely makes sense to me too. I've refocused a while ago. I decided I'm just going to refocus on what I enjoy the most, which are horror games. Now, unfortunately, they are the most expensive shits out there.
Mm-hmm.
But if I see a good deal, especially eBay, one of my videos that will be coming up, I document 2 Dreamcast games I got for pretty damn cheap considering what the games are. So that's my new thing. Like, I probably will always be on the lookout for that. So
let me tell you something that breaks my heart, Brian, since you were thinking about it. Because at that same local store when I got Getsu Fumaden today, they got a stack of Dreamcast games in. And I'm just like, okay, I don't really collect for Dreamcast anymore. I have most of everything that I want. But they got one thing in, and it kills me how much they want for it. Because literally all I need is the instruction manual for Illbleed.
Yep.
I love this game. This game is awesome. You know how much they want for it? $3.99.99. Like,
okay, so then I might as well tell you my story.
Yeah.
So...
Didn't you get this for like you got it like a resale shop or
Oh
something?
yeah,
right?
I was
Jim
telling everyone
talking
about this
that.
motherfucker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what happened was one of the flea markets that Jim and I, it's near us, we used to go to a lot. They have it every Sunday throughout most of summer and a little bit in the fall. I went there not expecting anything. I must have went through 50 tables with just nothing. And then I found the video game table. I'm going through and I'm like, okay, they have some interesting shit. I think I picked up, there's a Game Boy Advance game. It's Crazy Dracula.
Oh, Dracula Crazy Vampire.
Yeah, so I saw that. I was like, oh, that's cool. They had... I can't remember the other two. But they had Jaws, and they had Friday the 13th on NES, and each of those were like $5. And I was like, oh,
Very
okay.
nice.
No, sure, I'm going to get those. But then... I'm going through there. They have like the jewel cases. Of course, none of them match any shit. I see carriers for the Dreamcast. Do you have that one?
I do. I have carriers. That carrier's one of the ones I kept, right? Yeah. Just making
nice.
sure.
Yep. So I saw that cover, and clearly it's some kind of vampire. I was like, oh, that's definitely a horror game. It was like $15, so I said, no brainer. I'm gonna get that. I didn't know the value of it, and then I see Illbleed. And there's a part of me that goes, I know this is probably horror, but it's $20. The CD didn't look in the best condition. And I'm one of those people, it may be weird, I don't like eBaying right in front of the guy. And he's like standing,
I try my best not to.
He's like standing right there. And I'm also like, I call it pride or what. Like, I'm not going to walk off to the side, eBay, and then come right back. But I'm texting Jim.
I do. I do too, I'll be honest.
Well, and now, trust me, now I will, because I text Jim. I go, yeah, like I got some pretty good deals. They had this game Illbleed for $20, and he goes, "What the fuck? Did you get it?" And I was like, "No."
He's like, "Get it."
Go back. I was like, "Shit, I can't." I was like, "You know what? I'll just go back next week." The whole week it ate me up, because then I looked it up, and even loose, yeah, it's like $180, $200. I was like, holy shit. So went back the next week. Luckily, when you see this guy's setup, it's funny because there's a little eye trick. Like, he has a locked and key like box, but they're all like N64, Zelda, Mario Kart 64. Like, that's what he thinks are the
Nintendo staples.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so people probably go there. They don't really look through the shitty like little bundles. So luckily, Illbleed was still there, $20. I brought it home. That and carriers works absolutely perfect. So $20 for Illbleed.
Dude.
We were just talking with somebody over the weekend, and yeah, he's even like, just get yourself like a repro cart and like just display it nicely. He's like, that, not for resale purposes, but just for holding it. But he's like, yeah, $20 for Illbleed? Holy hell. So, yeah.
Brian, please tell me you're going to stream that game. Please tell me you're going to stream
definitely.
Please.
So part of
Can't
my
wait.
Bloodthirsty Thursdays is that, like, since I'm getting all these horror games, I definitely want to stream that. I just need to figure out a good way to stream my Dreamcast.
Awesome.
Yeah, but no, I'm excited for it. I played a little bit.
Do you have a capture card? Do you have an HDMI capture card?
So I have the Elgato HDS, HD60X, and I have the RoccoW HD Pro.
We'll talk later. I can send you something.
Okay.
I've got something that'll help you with that.
Awesome.
Because I just got a RetroTink 5X. So I'm just like, I've got these others.
Nice.
Yeah. No, it was funny.
I'm
Sorry, not
very
to change
jealous.
subject. Not to change subject.
No,
It was
no,
funny
no.
because like a buddy of mine actually had got me a FrameMeister. Right? He sent me a FrameMeister, and I was just like, okay, well, I guess I could go ahead and use this, but then I got to get all the proper parts and cables and connections and everything. But at Classic Game Fest, while we were there, and it was packed. I mean, like. Classic Game Fest was insanely packed. That entire I could not leave my table until like almost 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It was that packed. But I stepped away. My wife was watching the table. I stepped away for like 5 minutes because the RetroTink 5Xs were going on sale, and I was on my phone. And I was like, oh, for the love of everything, please have my internet signal work. Chrome, do not crash on me. Everything, and it finally went through. And funny, like in the back of the table, I was like, yes, I got it,
Dude, that's
But
awesome.
the best thing about it is that I had that, and I also had a RetroTink 2X. I wound up talking with a good local friend of mine and a friend of his that was really getting into streaming, and she was asking like a bunch of questions, like how to get started and whatnot. And I looked at her and I got like the RetroTink. I was like, you know what? Here, I gave her the RetroTink. It's like this is what you need. This is what's going to get you started. And it's like, so there you go. Any way that I could help like that, sometimes. Pay it forward. But I was just so excited, like, and over the moon. So now that's kind of where I'm getting at, is that, well, now I have this Dreamcast HDMI connection that works with the Elgato. I tested it.
Oh, shit.
Like, everything works with the Elgato. I don't need it anymore. If that'll help you, I can gladly send it to you, by all means.
I would greatly, greatly appreciate that.
Yeah.
And I'll
Consider done.
send you all the nudes you want. Don't worry.
You're not, oh. I'm about to say, you gotta tease them a little bit, you can't just give them away for free like that. Come on.
Yeah, Brian, start with the turkey neck and work your way down
Damn
as
it.
the shipping bar keeps going.
So yeah, now Illbleed is one of those games where that's my collector story. I never had a collector story before this point. That was my like, holy shit, found something crazy. So yeah.
That's awesome, dude. You're gonna love that game too. It is insane and it's crazy, and I love it.
Yeah, but that's a game. Going back to what we were just mentioning, I know that its value is through a roof. I don't have any because I'm only collecting horror now. I probably won't ever part with it, unless God forbid I have to for an unforeseen condition. But that's like one where I'm like, no, I know I got it on the dirt cheap. I'm gonna keep it because it's my horror collection, and that's what I'm keeping. So.
Right, there you go. And that's one of the things going back into collecting too. I know we're way off topic, but it's like, so people ask me like, do you still collect? I'm like, well, yeah, I do. Yeah. But the thing is that now I'm actually collecting in smaller things. Like, perfect example, you're collecting horror games. Yeah. Me, I'm now collecting like all the games in one franchise of a particular, because one of the big things that I'm doing for YouTube is called Mascot Mania, where I basically I'm going to be doing, it's a review series about various mascots. I pick one game that means the most to me, talk about the character, talk about the impact, and all that kind of stuff. And it's like the first episode is about Awesome Possum, believe it or not. Which good old Jimbo over there is going to have a voice in.
Yes, I do.
It's like, yep, he has a voice
Little
in
bit part.
It's finally coming, Jim. 6 months late, but it's finally
He's
coming.
like, talk like a South Philly scumbag. I'm like, I can do this.
But yeah, that's basically what I'm doing. So like, say, Klonoa, for example. Like, I want to get all the Klonoa games.
Yeah.
And now, thanks to my buddy Jamie from Stuff We Play, she just traded me... I saved like one Vita game for her, London Detective Mysteria. I traded that for the Wonder Swan copy, complete in box, of Klonoa, which is super rare.
Oh, wow.
And it's
Nice.
like, she had it for some reason. And it's like, do you want to trade? I'm like, yeah, let's trade.
Yeah.
Cool. So we got that. So now the only Klonoa game I'm missing out of that is Klonoa Heroes, which is a Game Boy Advance Japanese exclusive.
Gotcha.
But the I've got beach volleyball. But like,
There you go.
I want to get all the Earthworm Jim games, or like I want to get all of the Disney games on the NES, like those sort of things.
Okay.
Like smaller collections are
I
the
like
ones that
it.
I'm really focused on.
But it's
now.
more niche for the moment of you collecting it. So yeah.
Yes.
I like
Yeah,
it.
or like every Mario Kart game. That's another one. Like, I want to get every Mario Kart game. The only one that I'm missing out of those right now is the AR one. I forget what it's called. The one for the Switch, the AR one. Home Circuit. Mario Kart Live. Yeah, Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. That's the
Gotcha.
one.
Oh, yeah, I never even considered that part of the series. But yeah, that is...
Yeah, I mean, it's not a numbered title, but like it's there. I know people are considering Mario Kart. What was that? No, Tour. The one on the phone. Like, people are considering that main line. I'm like, Okay,
Yeah.
sure, whatever. But so
Gee,
I say,
buy an arcade and get that goddamn one with Pac-Man in it.
oh god, yeah. I mean, a local place has it, so like I could just
Really?
go there. Speaking of which, in arcades, I'm so excited that Cruise and Blast is coming home. I'm like, yes. If you've never played that game, it's so good. It's so good. But yeah, between those and collecting wise, that's really what I've focused on, and then of course Sonic stuff. Like I'm still whole on collecting Sonic.
Wait, do you like
that's not-
Sonic?
Let me think on that question and get back to you.
Just a little bit.
That question requires a lot of thought. I don't know. I'm more of a Mario guy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Of course, who isn't?
Now, see, I saw this Game Grumps video, and they said it was weird. So I don't know if you should be really playing that.
Oh, Lord. Mm-mm.
No, but
Gee, burn a bridge.
No, I love Sonic. Like, in all seriousness, that's not going to stop. I just got, like, a bunch of 30th anniversary Sonic stuff. Like, that's not going to stop.
no,
But speaking of which, I need to make a collection update video because now the Sonic collection is now in 2 different rooms. So that's how big it's gotten. But
So
thankfully,
that's why
it's because
he sold his shit. He just needed more goddamn room.
that is not incorrect. I did need the room. That is very true. Yeah.
I love it. No, but like you said, I can't wait. Yeah, to see you come back on YouTube with your videos, and like I said, I really want to say once again, congrats everyone out there. You gotta make sure you follow him.
Thank
But
you.
Links
Jim,
will be below as usual.
Jim, before we hit up our Patreon, we actually have
Finally.
a new review that came in on iTunes.
Yeah, been a little bit.
And I want to preface one thing. Back when we were running a few contests, I realized we would have to change, what was it, our locality if I wanted to see stuff from Europe or Canada. There's
Yeah.
something really weird where we can't read your iTunes review, so
Yeah,
we
iTunes is a pain in the dick.
we actually
Weird.
had some shit from the UK and like Canada and other random countries that just didn't come through. So I apologize if we've never responded to you. It's not because we're ignoring you. It's because I didn't want to have to click through every single country each time I wanted to try to read reviews.
That's lame.
It's
That's
a
lame to do
terrible
that.
system. iTunes is not.
Yeah.
They're not. that
iTunes
good.
is the only one with like a review system, and they make it dog shit to do. So,
Yeah.
great.
Of course.
So, if anyone out there, if you do leave a review and you go, hey, you never read my review, then just hit us up on the socials, and then we'll look
Yeah.
for it. So,
Yeah.
Or YouTube.
or that.
too.
Yeah.
Any of them.
Always.
But yeah, it comes to us from Humor Dude 90. 5 stars saying hosts have great chemistry, great conversations, and great guests. Speaking of. So, thank you very much. And like we said, we will read out any 5-star review that you give us. So, please keep it within reason. But you can bash away.
And if you want to bash Jim really hard on them, we'll
Yeah, Brian will read that uncensored. So
It's like, why not? It's free.
Exactly.
have some fun. Vent to us. It's fun.
All right, Chambers. But now let's dive into the meat of our favorite folks in the world, our Patreon and our patrons' questions for the week.
Yep. All right. So patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 measly per month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. Speaking of every single one, we actually, I guess this got posted as we were recording, so we missed it last week. So last week's from Phony Montana. We all know Mortal Kombat is the GOAT fighting game. So who comes in second? Street Fighter or Tekken or something else?
Well, I agree. Mortal Kombat's a GOAT. And even though Jim, I know, won't agree just because of Street Fighter 2.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat's 1 for me. I would probably put Tekken 2. If you go historical importance, you can't not say Street Fighter. But I find myself having more enjoyment overall across multiple Tekken games, where Street Fighter, it's pretty much limited to like 2 games. So I would say Tekken is number 2 there. So yeah, Tekken for me. Because it's also, to me, the best 3D fighting game.
G.
All right, so Brian, you and I, especially with your last statement, your closing statement. So, once again, I want to preface this.
Yeah.
I am a Sega fan. I'm not always going to pick Sega.
Yeah.
But in a case like this, I'm going to pick Sega.
Okay.
Because the thing is that, and it's been this way, honestly, since, I don't know, the very beginning, really. To me, it's like, when it comes to any other fighting games, to me, I think the closest and the strongest one that people still to this day still sleep on is Virtua Fighter. Like, it really is. Like, Virtua Fighter is the most simplest yet the most complex fighting game that you could ever play. I feel that anybody could really pick up and play it, But in order to master it, I think it's one of the toughest ones. But yet, never feels out of reach. It doesn't feel like a Blaze Blue or something like that, where it's like completely way out of reach. Yeah. And I've always been magnetized. Like I've gone back and forth on the Virtua Fighter series, but it seems like every time that I come back, and every time it comes back stronger. Virtua Fighter 5 Ultimate Showdown is so good. Like it was a wonderful game. I'm glad that while they're still working on the online kinks, that the game itself just like was so solid. I think that really when it comes to fighting games, because even I'm like, I don't know if I can even really say that Mortal Kombat is the top. I mean, now granted here, I haven't played Mortal Kombat 11, so I can't comment on that. But I played pretty much every Mortal Kombat, like all the way up to that, and in between that and Street Fighter, I think I'm still more gonna gear towards Street Fighter before those two. But I think it's the little engine that I feel is the most solid and one of the most accessible ones that a lot of people just don't give credit to, and I think it's Virtua Fighter 5. Maybe right behind that, just to be a shit, Marvel vs. Capcom 2.
Okay. No,
just because even as broken as it is, it's just madcap fun, and I love it.
So Virtua Fighter, when I said if you go only historical, obviously you gotta put Street Fighter up there as number one. But Virtua Fighter, I put that as historical for 3D fighting.
Oh, totally.
The first one.
Yeah, and it is a great series, but it is one of those games where, for whatever reason, I started with Tekken. And then I went and tried Virtua, and I went, this is I didn't get why it needed to be so much more difficult to try to control. It felt like Tekken was smoother, and probably because there's more advanced techniques in Virtua, so it wasn't as accessible. And I was like, I'm just gonna stick with Tekken, and I liked like the more kind of goofy, over the top characters in Tekken.
Very true.
So it was one of those like I just never I don't maybe past 3. I don't think I played any more Virtua Fighters, so I have no frame of reference for the newer games. But yeah, no, I get it, and like I said, I enjoy it. Only Jim has wrong opinions. Everyone else, I can.
You'd think I'd know that by now. Yeah. I'm still learning.
So Jim, I know your number one is Strip Fighter 2. So what's your number
Lord,
2?
Why?
What? Zangief titties. What?
So when's that stream
What?
happening?
We do gotta stream that.
We do have to stream that. I mean, I don't know how much Twitch is going to like that, but we do have to stream it.
Do you think we're big enough for Twitch to know, Jim?
That's a good point. Right. Let's just spam that queef attack.
Damn it.
God.
So, all right, Chambers, what do you think of this question? Where are you at?
All right, I'll hit it from 2 spots, because obviously, what do you call it? If we talk about like a single game, then like Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo would be mine. But if we're going to hit series like you went with, I'm actually going to probably ape G, and I'm going to go with Marvel vs. Capcom, just because of how stupid fun it is. Like, the technical, like, there's enough there for the technical people, you know, with 3, let's say. But, you know, like you said, 2's a broken mess, but it's also the most fun fighting game that's ever been made. So, and like, 1's a really solid game, and I think Infinite got shit on a little too much, but like I played it a little bit off Game Pass, and I was kind of like, eh. But
Infinite really was not that bad.
It got
bad. Overblown. It got massively overblown.
It got massively overblown. Like, it's not great, but it's like it's not a train wreck that everyone was saying it was. So like,
Right.
I thought it was fine. So like, even if like your worst game's just fine, then you can't really go wrong there with that series. So
I mean, I had to get over the fact that they did my girl Morgan dirty, but oh well.
this is true. They did a lot of people dirty in that.
Yep.
But yeah, no, I mean, I've always been a sucker for Marvel vs. Capcom, so I would say probably that's my favorite, like, overall franchise for fighting games.
It's interesting, because when we played 3, you bitch because I whooped your ass so many times. You're like, this game's broken, it doesn't work. So you really only like 2. But you like
No,
that as your
I like
franchise.
1, I like 2. I think 3's okay, even though, like, the art style annoys me. But, like, as a game, it's still, like, that stupid, fast-paced fun. And then Infinite's Infinite.
So you basically really like one of them.
I like 2 of them. I like 1 and 2 a lot.
1 and 2 are both good.
3's fine.
But do they have FMVs? But
They do not. That's the thing that they could use to fix themselves up.
What
We need Marvel vs. Capcom,
now?
the movie, the game. That's what we need.
exactly.
It's like, what are we, Eternal Champions now? We're doing Cinekills? Like, what?
Talking about a game that would waste the potential.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. I still have my Sega CD copy of that, though. That's one I didn't part with.
Yeah, it's a game that I was always jealous to not have, and once I played, I was happy I did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I grew up with it too, and I'm just like, yeah.
One of the yeah, we don't need to get in that. But yeah, no, Phony, thank you. Great question. And sorry we didn't get to it last week, but we did get. I think he also posted for this week, right, Jim?
Yes, he did.
All right.
So he'll be double dipping in a few. But next up from Game Whisperer Dean. There's an AEW game in production. What features would you like to see in the game that would get it to set it above any WWE offering to date, brother?
Just be somehow make the custom wrestlers even better than all the other WWE games. Make it like Fire Pro and have it be able to be downloaded from other folks, and don't put a limit cap on it. I mean, I know that's really hard to say, but maybe cap it at 100, because at the end of the day, all anybody wants is their favorite wrestlers in their game that they're playing, and kind of as unlimited as possible. And there was one SmackDown game, I think it was like 13, that actually had a pretty good number you could have. I think it was like 50, and then they dropped it to like 25. It like halved it the next year, and it
Yeah,
never...
I think it was either 13 or 14 that did that.
Yeah, I can't remember
which
which one it was. But Fire Pro obviously is like unlimited, which is part of the appeal of Fire Pro. So if they do that, then they're really competing. Because otherwise, what are you really competing with WWE games? That's
Right.
my 2 cents.
Yeah, it's kind of like, how do you reinvent the wheel at this point? Like, do you put in their little Japanese death match with sparklers at the end? Is that what we need to do? All these references are going to be lost on Brian. But,
It is.
yeah. Or maybe expand on Brian's Create a Wrestler mode, where you can, like, well, you could do that in No Mercy and edit, like, the in-game wrestlers, too. So, you can have, like, old school, Fit Jericho, present-day Fat Jericho, or stuff like that. But, I don't know. To be honest with you, what they could do to just make, just make a really solid wrestling game. Because, like, I don't think a WWE game's really been that good since 14. So, like... I like 17's all right, and like a couple have had like little bright spots here and there, but for the most part, like 14 was like the last really good one, I would say.
I agree.
So yeah, like give us a really good story mode, give us a really good, like end it with fighting the Inner Circle, or whoever the hell you want to have the fight there, or make Kenny Omega like OP like he is right now, however you want to do the storyline.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, really just make a super solid game, and you'll already be ahead of the game with WWE games as of late. So.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are bigger wrestling fans. At this point, though, I feel like the market for fun arcadey style wrestling games is like you still every so often get like this one or two thrown out there. But for the most part, you kind of want to see more simulation-y. Like that's just the way it is. And No Mercy was an example. All those N64 games, they were more just goofy, easy arcade fun, which was part of the appeal, but basically since the PS2 forward, it's been simulation is king, with a few fun ones thrown in. I'm not discounting the fun, like goofy ones.
Yeah, like All Stars and shit. Yeah,
I loved All Stars so much.
Yeah, exactly.
Maybe that's something they could do, like basically base the game as like the simulation, like it's gonna be, and maybe just have like one game mode. It's just like a stupid arcadey like throwback.
Right. I forget which one. It was one of the ones on the GameCube that was like that. I think is it 19? I think it was either 19 or one of the Day of Reckoning games that actually had like a beat 'em up style arcade mode.
I think it was Day of Reckoning. Yeah, that was one of the ones we talked about last time. That game was stupid fun, but it's one nobody played.
Yeah, I feel like the GameCube WWE games were
pretty good
as a whole. Were underrated.
Yeah, WrestleMania and yeah.
Somehow they got missed over. But if I have to think about an AW game, because I know they keep touting about how it's like, oh, hey, might have ties with No Mercy and whatnot. Well, because the thing is that there's a reason why people go back to games like No Mercy and Here Comes the Pain, to an extent, WrestleMania 2000 and N64. There's a reason why they come back to ones like that, and it's because they were like a good blend. Like they felt arcadey, but at the same time, you could do so much to it. It was extremely expansive. But if I can say that, if one thing I want the AEW game, or two things really, I really want for the AEW game to do. One, please do not overcomplicate the grappling system. If there's one thing that I cannot stand about like the current WWE games, is that they make grappling and being able to do like chain moves and chain grappling, especially when they use the analog sticks. Oh my god, I can't stand that. Because like it's just you have to get it in just the right spot and it's too much admin. I use that phrase a lot. Like if it's something like that has too much admin, if there are too many steps to do that, then I tune out when it comes to a wrestling game, when it comes to something like that.
Yeah.
The second thing I would want to see, so like, yeah, have it be a good blend of arcade and simulation, but maybe even to an extent just have like an arcade ladder. Just have like an arcade ladder mode like a fighting game does. You know, something like that. That would actually be pretty awesome. The other thing I would like to see, a proper GM mode. If you really want to go full simulation, that's something that if AEW really wanted to, like, you know, stick it right into WWE's craw, if there's something that, like, the WWE games that people have been asking for so many years, is to bring back GM mode. Like, bring back GM mode. If they did something like that, that would be, wow, bang, home run. Like, it really would be.
That goes right in with my custom wrestler thing where it was still 13, 14, where I set up, like, basically different. Each week was, like, this week is basically, you know, WWE from the 80s, then the 90s, then the 2000s, and there would be crossover events at the pay-per-view. I would spend hours just setting up that whole, like, you know, the whole couple years going out. And that's, I think that's what fans really, really like. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Give a very solid, would whoop WWE's ass GM mode, but make sure you have enough wrestlers to pad it. That's all I'll say.
Oh, they have enough wrestlers.
Oh, they do. And if not only that, then they could probably still... I know they've got their partnership with Impact right now, but I guess like whichever other partnerships that they can go through and say, hey, why don't we go ahead and toss them in there too? Why not? There's no Impact game. There's no AAA game. It's like, hey, why not? Why not just
I was going to say, they have Impact, they have AAA, they have New Japan. Like, they could, with enough licensing, dude, it could almost be like WCW versus NWO World Tour.
It could be.
We have all those old things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost basically going around the world. Shit.
Yep. That was a great game too. But again, that was another one that was a really great blend of simulation and action. Mm-hmm. It's also simple enough that literally anybody could pick it up and play and go. And that's something that the WWE games today do not do. No. And that's something that... Man, Battlegrounds broke my heart. I bought that game day one, and I was all set to, like, ready to stream it and whatnot. Like, I got home, and I played it, and something just didn't feel right. Yeah. Like, about it just didn't feel right. And it was just, why is this so boring to me? Yeah. It's like it's the equivalent of like a game yelling at you in the face, "Hey, like me! Hey, like me! Hey, like me!" And you're just like, "Ugh." Mm-hmm. That's basically what it was. Like, and I don't want to be that person who's like, "Oh, you're not as good as All Stars," but you're not as good as All Stars. I'm sorry,
you're not. It's just not.
All Stars is freaking awesome, and that's I know I don't want an AEW game to be like All Stars. I don't.
No,
but it would be.
You want
nice
their first offering to be like more normal. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But maybe in the future.
No, great question though, Dean.
Yep. Next up from 5th Gen Mook. With all the remakes and reboots that are done these days, what video game movie do you think they should take another shot at and try to get right?
So we're talking ones that have already been made that you think could try to get done again?
Yeah.
That's what I'll say we'll go with. Yeah.
I would go Silent Hill.
That's a good one.
As a horror movie fan, like, I almost kind of liked it at the beginning, and then it just fell apart through the middle, and the end was just garbage. So I just went... Yeah, give me a legit, full-on, just horror experience Silent Hill.
You know, funny, Brian, we, my buddy Triple S Entertainment, he jumped on my Twitch channel. We actually did a live tier list where we ranked, like, every video game theatrical release movie. And we talked about what we would think about with a new Silent Hill, and we were just kind of right around that. It's like, if you think about it now, with the technology that we have, and the kind of dedication that we have, and we look at movies like Sonic and Detective Pikachu, like, it's there. Mm-hmm. You know, it totally could be done. I would love to see a new Silent Hill. That being said, I don't know if Uwe Ball still has his clutches on this. Personally, I would love to see another Blood Rain. Like a legit, real deal, because I love Blood Rain. Actually, it's at the very close. I cannot wait for Blood Rain Betrayal, New Blood. I forget what it's called. The remake of that. I cannot wait for that. But I would love to see that get made into a nice new style horror movie. Like no super. I mean, well, Blood Rain always has like a level of camp, but not too much. You know, I would love to see that actually legitimately come back.
I thought you were about to say Postal.
No. No. Absolutely not. Blood Rain is probably the only Uwe Ball movie that I legitimately like really sat through and I didn't feel like I just punched myself in the gut. So now the sequels are something different. Yeah. But the first one,
I agree with
that. This has potential. You just effed it up like usual. But at least this one you really, really tried. But I would like to see a new Blood Rain movie.
Now, if the sequels had casted Hitomi Tanaka in the title role, do you think that could have saved it?
Oh, God. The only problem is just that, you know, it's still only rated R, so you can only go so far, Jim.
Well, obviously. I'm a man of class here. Come on.
Wait, gee, can I say one thing? And
What?
I don't think it'll be controversial, and I know he only did the first one. Did you see all the House of the Dead movies?
I've only seen the first one.
Okay. The first one, yeah, it was pretty rough.
Oh my god.
It was pretty rough as probably being nice. But I think, is it the second one or the third one? The second one is just stupid. It was at that time in the 2000s where every other movie was a zombie movie. And
Right.
it's so popcorny, cheesy, stupid fun, but they weren't trying to be bad. It just turned out bad. That's enjoyable for that. So that wasn't a bad movie. But
Okay.
yeah, like I said, but he's not involved with that one. I know he was only involved with the first one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll take your word for it. The first one scarred me something fierce.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. About
It's completely tonally nothing like the first one, if that makes you feel better.
that. Okay.
Now, what about you, Chambers?
You know what? I'll probably go with that Street Fighter. What was it? Legend of Chun-Li or whatever the hell that second movie live action one they did was.
Oh, the Kristen Krieg one. Yeah.
Yeah, like, and I don't even want like a reboot of it. Just fucking scrap it, pretend that didn't. Like, I love the first one. I'll always love it.
Same.
Like, I know, like people say it's crap. Fine, it's kind of crap, but you know what else? It's fun.
It's so fun. Yes.
It's dumb and fun. So I don't need a sequel to that or anything like that. But if you want to try and make a serious Street Fighter movie, just try again, pretend that didn't happen, and just try and do something right this time. Like you can base it, or just make it super simple. Make it be like the story of Ryu in like the first Street Fighter tournament, and he beats Sagat at the end, and then they tease M. Bison at the end, shit like that. Like just keep it a dumb, like good, simple kung fu movie. That's really all you need to do.
Why didn't you say Super Mario?
Right, you can't top perfection. So
I'm Luigi. Or
Oh,
Luigi
it's
Mario.
Mario.
Yeah.
Wait, Mario. What's his last name? Mario.
Yeah.
Oh. Just please put me out of my misery.
I still trust a fungus. All right.
Damn it. Great question, though, Mook. Appreciate it, bud.
Yep. Next up from Alex Perez. What are your favorite conspiracy theories, gaming or otherwise? Ooh.
Favorite. I mean, I'll keep it.
Conspiracy
I'll
theories.
try to keep it gaming. Okay, is it a conspiracy theory or could it be true? I don't care. But I love when people dive really deep and be like, all the Battlefield and Call of Duty games are just recruitment things for people to get into the U.S. military. Like,
I mean, there's been a lot of games that are just straight recruitment.
no, but I'm saying, like, especially Call of Duty, like, you could argue that if you really care about the campaign, but honestly, how many people truly do? And this is coming from a guy who's played every single campaign, and I enjoyed them. Call of Duty is just known as the online shooter that you just, get told that your mom's being banged by 12-year-olds. Like, that's all it really boils down to. It's not a really good recruitment tool in that sense. So I love that it's like you take a game like that and the awareness isn't there that even if that's what they tried to do, they failed so miserably that I don't think that's a real thing. It wasn't created by the military industrial complex. So yeah, it's that I always enjoy that one. What about you guys?
I think really because I don't really subscribe to a whole lot of like the whole gaming conspiracy theories and whatnot, right? But there is one that I remember really when back in the day. So y'all know the story of like the mid '90s and Sega, right? Like with the Saturn and what happened.
Yeah.
Like why the Saturn failed compared to like the PlayStation and whatnot, right? So I know people kind of drew parallels to when Mr. Bernie Stoller came to Sega and just kind of messed things up. Who formerly worked at Sony, and so. I remember, like, way back, a while back, people were drawing comparisons, saying, now, again, we're talking about wrestling now, that the whole kind of conspiracy theory on that was that with WWE basically had sent Vince Russo to WCW. They let him go there to kill the company. I remember people were saying that about Sony or Bernie Stoller to Sega. And people were like, hey, he's not jiving well with this company. However, maybe let him go over there and see what happens. I remember people were saying that. I was like, you're crazy. But then, it's like, the more I think about it, I'm like, yeah, because the decisions that he made in like those mid '90s basically killed the Saturn, and they really couldn't. At least in the U.S. In Japan, it was still thriving like crazy, But a lot of that comes down to like Sega's own infighting, and we all know the story about that.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, it's like I don't know if I'm 100% purveying to it, but if I have to, purveying into it. But I have to say that that's really the first one that really comes to mind when I think of gaming conspiracy theories, like out of anything. I can't really think of too terribly many more else, aside from like the standard, games that were actually brought to America were made harder because of rentals and whatnot. But that actually has been proven quite
Pretty
a
much
bit.
proven,
That was,
yeah.
Yeah, that was the only one I was thinking of. Like, say, I think of perfect example. I was playing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles on the NES the other night, right? And apparently, like, there was some. I got all excited because I was like, "There's a Konami code. I can actually get 2 more continues." Not in the American version. I'm like, what? It's like, why did you take that out?
Yeah.
So, or like the Crown Conquest, just removing continues all completely. I'm like, okay.
Yeah. No, I think that's a good one. No, I like that. What about you, Chambers?
All right, I'll switch it up and get away from the gaming sphere. And not that I ever bought into it, but my favorite one is just Pizzagate for the absurdity of it. Gee, you're not. Are you familiar with Pizzagate?
I am familiar with Pizzagate.
So, for those who don't know, basically the overall gist of it is the United States government is using the back of pizza shops in New York City to like have a underground occult sex ring with young boys, something like that. So, yeah, as I was reading, falling down little rabbit holes of that, I'm going, this is the stupidest thing I've ever heard, and just seeing people buy into it.
I
So
can tell
like,
you.
well, this is just pure entertainment.
I can tell you, my wife has worked at a pizza place for almost 10 years. Shit's not true. I can tell you that right now.
But did she work for one in New York?
Oh, no. No.
Well,
But,
now you're saying there's a chance.
So you're telling me there's a chance.
See, Jim.
No.
So the moral of this episode is
No.
G believes in Pizzagate.
No.
See,
No.
Jim, I thought you were. If you're going mainstream, then I would easily just throw out flat Earth because I've had too many of those arguments with people, and that's fascinating to such a degree that I'm just like, okay, it's okay.
my favorite argument from a person who who argued that on a podcast before was like, leave a piece of meat out and it'll boil more at night because the Earth is flat, so the moon sunbeams are hotter or some shit like that. I forgot what the gist of it was. It's insanity. They believe there's a wall of ice around the border of the Earth and all shit like that. So
Conspiracy theory. You know what it is?
you know what it is. Fuck you, Brian, because you're the kind of dickhole who would. Because you know what your argument would be? Well, just look at it.
Well, here's the deal.
That's what it all boils down to. It's them
Yes,
going,
yes,
well, just
yes.
look at it.
That-
What did
well,
you see?
That's the
Look at
problem.
you.
If I was arguing for it, you would never be able to debate. Jim, you can't debate
So it's a
me on
bunch. It's a
anything
bunch
now.
of Brian's fucking.
No. The problem is there are a few sprinkled in there, but there are just those that their argument always just boils down to like, well, because I don't trust the government, and it's easier to control people on a floating ball versus flat. Why that's a thing, I don't know. But my whole thing is the problem with any conspiracy theory is it's fun. It's make believe. It's like getting into a debate about fictional video game characters. Like you enjoy the lore behind it, but there's nothing written in stone. So you love getting into these kind of things. And could they be true? Could they not? Like we just said, the whole thing about video games in the U.S. being harder because of like that was the way they were coded. It was a fun idea. Now that we know it's true, it's kind of not. It's not as fun to talk about. You're like,
Right.
yeah, it ended up being true, and then you just move on to the next one. So yeah, like you said, there's some interesting people out there.
Interesting is the right word.
To say the least.
No, but Alex, good question. I like it.
Yep. Next up, once again from Phony Montana. Fresh Prince, Boy Meets World, and Friends for Me. What are your top 3 favorite TV sitcoms ever?
Are we including animated, or based on his list? I assume it's only live.
No. We can throw an animated
See, animated makes
to make it even harder.
Well, see, no, you know what? No,
Actually, it makes it easier.
no. I was gonna say no animated because that makes it too easy.
Okay.
You gotta do
Okay.
live. So if it's
man.
sitcoms, I mean, I can answer easily enough with It's Always Sunny. Would you consider Curb Your Enthusiasm a sitcom?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'd put that because shit. Fuck. The live is really throwing me. I don't watch enough live.
Same. So struggling a little bit because even the thing is that even the ones that I grew up with, like that I loved back in the day, like I can't sit and watch them now. So a lot of them I can't.
would put those two and... Ooh, shit. The Boys, if you count that as a sitcom. But no, that's not really a sitcom. That's
Not
more,
really, no.
No, shit. All right, so it's got to be comedy. All right, he put Fresh Prince, Boy Meets World, Friends. You know what?
Brian, just say Home Improvement. We know you're thinking.
No. You know what? No. I'm putting one I did actually watch all the time was Martin. So those are my three. There you go. What are you guys putting?
I'm thinking, well, I got two. I'm trying to think of a third one, because I know that, going back to ones that I did grow up with, and like I know one that actually has shockingly aged very well. And talking about the Fresh Prince, now don't get me wrong, I got enough respect for like the Fresh Prince and whatnot. A Different World. That was the one that I felt really... If you go back and you watch it now, like every now and then, like when we used to have TV, because we don't have TV anymore, but when we used to watch TV a lot more, it's shocking how well that actually has aged. I mean, aside from, looking at sometimes how they talk and sometimes how they dress, it's obviously a product of the 90s, right?
Yeah.
But at least, like, the themes and whatnot are so well done, and the acting on it is extremely well done. It was funny, and it had its moments when it was super serious without getting too terribly serious. Like, it doesn't go all Tyler Perry on you, where it's like, dun dun dun, now all of a sudden, okay, everything's super dramatic. It's not anything like that. It's the pacing on it was, like, so gradual on it. You could tell that this was kind of the byproduct. Now, I know Bill Cosby, I get it, because it was a Cosby production, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, this was the one that I feel that they really took the time to make the character super relatable and has aged tremendously well. The other one, I would say, now, I kind of say this with a bated tongue because I don't know what he's done recently. And I always am kind of tricky about mentioning people like that were famous back then. I don't know if they've done anything recently because I'm just like, okay, I don't want to get canceled. But Christopher Titus.
yeah.
Fuck, Titus was fucking great.
That was yeah.
I was about to say, I'm not sure what he's been doing recently, because I think if I'm not mistaken, he's been doing some Crazy Man things recently. But I will say this, his show is fantastic. Like, that was a show that, like, it was a show that really put dysfunctional families into a light that didn't pull any punches, but yet didn't feel offensive. Like, it did a really, really good job. And again, going back to the acting and the characters and whatnot, it had Zach Ward, who was from Blood Rain. Go figure, right? And Postal. But the thing is that it was so incredibly well done, and then just the transitionings between, because it was done in the same vein of like Seinfeld did with, like, it got into with his stand-up, but the stories intertwined with his stand-up. But this didn't feel like out of place like it did with Seinfeld in some cases. But meanwhile, I mean, personally, I know I'm probably going to get a lot of heat for saying this. Like, I don't think Seinfeld aged well at all. I know people like absolutely love and adore Seinfeld. I don't think it's aged well in the least. Titus, on the other hand, that one I think absolutely did. A third one, though. Jim, if you have any on your mind, come back to me for my third. I'm trying to
Actually, I was about to say Seinfeld's gonna be on my list because I'm one of those Seinfeld marks.
Hey,
so
that's just my opinion. If you still really like Seinfeld, more power to you.
Yeah, and basically, and actually, fucking thank you for reminding me about Titus because I loved the shit out of that show back in the day. I might have to just throw that on my list too, and then I was gonna put Always Sunny no matter what.
Yeah.
But then again, of course, if we're talking about my upbringing, then it's obviously got to be Living Single, Hanging with Mr. Cooper and Sister. So.
Yes, I didn't think about that. It was dumb. It's another one that I'm like, I'm scared to hell to watch it now. Unhappily Ever After was another one I really liked a lot. And I'm just like, but that one I'm super scared. If I ever like had the opportunity to watch it now, I'm like, I'm probably gonna hate this now.
What? No one's saying Herman's Head? What the hell?
Oh God, Herman's Head.
Yeah, sitcoms have always been weird. You hit the nail on the head, though. A lot of them just don't age well at all. And honestly, I think any of them, when you have a laugh track in there, that kills it for me most of the time. Like, yeah, I don't like that as much. But
I still love me some Married with Children. Give me that laugh track in there.
I got
Married
the
with
third
Children
one.
is great. Yeah. What?
I got the third one because I'm just like, yeah, this is the one that changed everything, didn't it? Malcolm in the Middle.
Yeah,
Malcolm was really good.
Malcolm in the Middle was the one that really changed everything. It turned everything of what you thought about like what a sitcom would be, especially like
holy shit.
No laugh tracks and no anything like that.
Yeah.
It was real, but at the same time, it was very goofy. It never took itself too seriously.
And it's crazy at the same time we had that and King of the Hill, which is kind of like in the same vein where it's like a very slow burn for its comedy and shit like that, but like a lot smarter, especially from where it came from. So
I need to change my Martin, and I guess this would be a sitcom, The Office.
No, The Office is totally a sitcom.
Of course.
Yeah, so definitely put that there. That's
I'm
still
one of those people.
Brian's
and
a basic white girl, but
Jim, you watched it just as much as I did, and just because you're trying to
I
act like
fell
you,
off after the 4th season. After Jim
but
and
you
Pam
still-
got together,
but
it wasn't
you
as
still
good.
love it, so don't act like you don't.
The first 3 seasons are great. After that, it went.
You jumped around just like we did, like a little girl when Jim and Pam kissed. So don't act
I
like
did.
it wasn't.
I didn't know what was going to come though, but I was so happy.
Yeah, that's still, to me, one of the best ones recently. So, yeah.
I got a lot of respect for The Office. It was one of those that, like, look, I love the cast. I absolutely love the cast about The Office, but the show never grabbed me. Like, I don't know what it was. Like, it never really, and especially now that I worked in, an IT office for 5+ years.
Sure.
Like, it didn't really grab me. Even stuff like the IT crowd, like, that didn't grab me either. Parks and Rec, on the other hand, was the one I thought was pretty funny.
See,
But for some reason
yeah.
or another, it just kind of, like, I just lost interest. It wasn't that the show got bad. I just
Yeah,
kind of lost
that
interest
and like
with it.
Community, like all the Office.
Yeah,
ripoffs,
Community.
None of them ever really grabbed me either.
Community hit me hard at the beginning. Like, I remember that. Like, I loved it. But then for just some reason or another, just, I don't know.
I will
just lost interest
also,
in it.
I just have to throw out there for our UK buddies. I've watched the UK Office, and even though the first season, it sucks. Compared to the American Office, it sucks.
It's a whole different
Ricky
wave.
Gervais does not just save everything he's in. I'm sorry, it's not as good.
I love Ricky Gervais, too.
Yeah.
But that, no.
Yeah, exactly.
Ooh, can I put Mr. Bean in? Is that a sitcom?
God.
Shut up, Jim.
I fucking love Mr. Bean.
Shut
I'm
up.
not being
No, you
ironic
don't.
about
You're
it.
being
Yes,
ironic.
I do.
You're
Come
just
on
being
now. Come on
ironic.
now. Come
I
on
grew
now.
up on that shit. Mr. Bean is classic. Fuck all you.
You're about to say Benny Hill, aren't you?
Nah,
We're really all gonna show our age.
Even I can't fucking pretend to be a Brit Bong like that, but nah.
No, but Phony, great question this week. Glad we could catch it this time.
Yep. All right, next up from Gamer Astral. Here's a simple one. Favorite
Hey.
Sega game ever?
Oh, come on now. Did he know I was gonna be here for this, or what?
I did mention it in the post that you will be here.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, come on now. It's like favorite Sega game ever. I can't talk about this enough. Streets of Rage 2. Easy. That's my answer. Y'all go ahead.
I think we all have the same answer here.
Do we?
Divine Ceiling?
Shut the fuck up, Jim.
Nah, it's Streets of Rage 2. Come on now.
Excuse me, real quick for a second. I just gotta do something real quick. Don't mind me. Wherever I be in here somewhere. Just don't mind me for a second. Bear with
He's
me. For
wrecking
just,
his
oh,
room
oh
right
my
now.
God. Oh, Jim, what is this? What is this? What is
you
this? Huh?
beautiful man.
What is that?
Is that
What is
a
that?
legit
I'm just gonna put that there.
I was gonna say, because it looks like that has my same like knockoff copy. Is that legit?
It is.
You son of a bitch.
Well, the cartridge is legit. The box is not.
Okay,
But
the box is the same as mine, but yeah, the cartridge is different.
The cartridge is legit. Yep, 'cause it's got that weird hook kind of cartridge.
it
I
does.
got this randomly from somebody off Craigslist. I went there for a copy of Discworld for PS1, and I saw that on his shelf. I knew what it was. Jenny was with me too, because this was like when we first got together, right?
Yeah.
And she looked at it. She's like, "I like that art. It's cute." It's like, what is this? I was like, "You don't want to know."
And you're sitting there like,
I'm like, "You don't want to know, or do you want to know?" And now she knows. But yeah, Streets of Rage 2, easily. I said this earlier when I was talking. I was talking in another interview with a very big company. I can't wait for it. I can't talk about it, but I can't wait for it. And I was just talking about basically about how just Streets of Rage 2 to me is like the closest thing to a perfect game. It really is.
Yeah.
Like as far as like a beat 'em up goes, I can't think of a single negative thing to say about this game. I really can't. I mean, like, is it the greatest game of all time? I'm sure in a lot of people's eyes it is. But it still shocks. I don't know if it's not my personal favorite game of all time. Only one game beats this game, unfortunately. And a lot of it is because of how, and it's Dance Dance Revolution, and it's a lot of it because of how that game completely changed my life.
Yeah.
And it really did. But this game, though, it operates on a whole different level than many other games, you know? And I know when people ask me that, they're like, "Oh, what, no Sonic?" I'm like, nope.
No, yeah.
Nope. As much as I love Sonic, it's like, nope, it's not my favorite.
I mean, if you ask me every single time, best soundtrack on the Genesis, I go Streets of Rage 2.
Streets of Rage 2.
Yeah.
It's
By far.
undoubtable, and it's stupid fun. Before Jim and I met, I loved it. He loved it. Since we met, we both love it. We've talked about it enough. Yeah, it's our favorite, pretty much hands down. So yeah, it's funny. I've never met, and I'm not the Twitter guy, but I haven't met anyone who truly hates it.
nah,
Me
it's
neither.
impossible.
So it's one of those games where I just go, yeah, you just play it. You're going to really like it. So
Yeah, and it's like unless you just don't like beat 'em ups, which I mean that's legit.
yeah.
But if you do, it's like there literally is not a bad thing to say about that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And gee, little pop quiz trivia. Did you know I did better than Jim when we did our drunken long play together?
No, I didn't.
Oh yeah, I scored higher than him, didn't I, Jim?
Took my character. I was out of my element. You took my main.
I mean, you've played it how many more times than me, and I still did better than you?
Took my main.
Jim, you got 4 characters to choose from. You mean to tell me you don't have a backup?
No, I'm always Max. I didn't have friends growing up. I was Max. I was a lonely boy.
Come on.
Gee,
now,
does that
man.
just sound like an excuse to you?
A little bit.
And hang up call.
No, great question, Astral. Appreciate it, bud.
Yep. And last up from Burn Retinas. Pop-Tarts or toaster strudels growing up?
Pop-Tarts because we couldn't afford toaster strudels.
Yeah.
That's just really the truth.
I'm same boat. Here's the deal. I don't think anyone loves toaster strudels except for getting the little jizz packet and dumping that all over once it's hot. But nobody wants to sit there and wait. The good thing about Pop-Tarts is you just eat them right away or you toast them. And honestly, even to today, the random times I have a Pop-Tart, I don't wait to toast them. I just eat them right out the pack. Toaster strudels, it's a whole fucking ordeal. And they are good. Don't get me wrong. But
And Pop-Tarts, you could freeze them and they're still good.
there you go. Yeah.
Ooh,
So
never froze one.
Pop-Tarts just have more versatility.
Oh, get yourself a s'mores Pop-Tart and you freeze
Freeze
that.
it?
It is a delight.
I'm gonna have to
It is
try
an
that.
absolute delight.
I will try that. But yeah, I didn't even know toaster strudel was a thing until I was like 15. So that wasn't even a thing on my radar at all. Even though I will say, if I never have to look at either the cinnamon or the apple cinnamon Pop-Tarts ever again. Yeah.
Oh
Wait,
yeah,
the ones
the brown
without
sugar, the brown sugar
frosting?
cinnamon.
No, they have frosting on. I think they have like just that sheen of brown frosting on top.
Yeah, the brown sugar cinnamon.
Yeah, yeah.
That one, yeah. Everybody and their mom like ate those, and
Yeah.
I think I burned
Yeah.
myself out of those.
Yeah. Jimmy, eat your Pop-Tarts. Finish your breakfast. I don't want to eat this one. Can I just have strawberry? We don't have strawberry, Jimmy. Sam's Club only has the cinnamon apple ones, Jimmy.
Jim, there's some repressed anger there.
Oh, there's repression.
Mommy issues.
Great question, though. Appreciate it, bud.
Yep. No, and that wraps up the Patreon questions for this week. So, once again, thank you so much, everyone, for anyone who supports the show. We really do appreciate it. And once again, patreon.com/DrinkABeerandPlayAGame. If you want to throw some more money our way, we get unlocks using our comment set or our descriptions as a billboard for whatever content you want, video game requests, all kinds of good stuff. So check it out. Links below.
Yeah. All right. So we are back now. New beers in hand. So, Jim, we'll start with you. How was that first beer? How did it treat you?
I actually already killed off both of my New Belgiums during that whole first segment. So, no, they're all good. Like, I don't think anything from New Belgium's, like, knock your socks off, like, special. But, like, every beer by them is extremely solid. So, like, you really can't go wrong with them. Like, the Voodoo Ranger IPA, very smooth, very solid IPA. That summer wheat beer was really delicious. So, if you like a nice little summer wheat beer, that's one I would say definitely check out. And since G mentioned it earlier, turns out I had one of these bad boys left. So, breaking my last Yingling Hershey Porter out.
Nice. Man, I want to try that so bad.
So, yeah, I finished off my sharing size. Delicious son of a bitch. I can't speak well enough about it. Now, unfortunately, because I'm clearing out my stock and all I really have left are meads and beers I want to review and then my old pumpkin beers, I had to move on to some of the non-craft. So, good old Budweiser in the U.S. can. So,
Well, trusty.
yeah, just just going with that. Interesting transition from such a delicious strong beer to that, but yeah, that's how we do. How about you, G?
Nice. Well, I finished off the Stella Artois, the Solstice Lager. It was good. I think really it comes down to a Stella. I just like Stella because it goes down smooth. Like, it doesn't really have a whole lot. Like, it doesn't knock your socks off.
Yeah.
But I think it's one of the smoothest, like, kind of lagers I really like. And it was quite tasty. But I'm about maybe 3/4 of my way through the Headliner's Blonde Ale. This is very, very good. Like, I really like. It has a really rich kind of aftertaste to it. And because normally, like, aftertaste with beer like this, I'm just like, oh, normally it's either gross or just something that's kind of forgettable. But it's very thick, if that makes sense, but without being too filling. I like it a lot. This is very good. But I think after that, I'm going to move on to, per your recommendation, I'm going to move on to the Shiner Weissen Easy, which is a wheat beer. It looks like a summer beer. Like a wheat beer brewed with Texas dewberries and natural flavor added. Brewed to beat the Texas heat, the Shiner Original has all the flavor of a wheat beer, but with only 95 calories. It's perfect for kicking back and taking it Weissen Easy.
There you go.
I like that.
I like it.
I like that.
Good read.
My wife Ron-chan actually got me that one. So.
Nice. So, gee, we missed it earlier, but now we want to come round to it. So, what have you been playing recently?
Well, when I'm not streaming, it's like basically trying to pick out what games I still want to play basically off camera and whatnot, right? Probably the two big games I'm always consistently kind of playing are Splatoon 2. I honestly have been like horribly addicted to Splatoon 2. Shame on me that I have taken so long to get into this game. Like, I know I bought it a while back because my wife has been in the Splatoon since day one.
Yeah.
Since the original on the Wii. She's a veteran at it. She's like level, I think she's like level 70 or 80 or something like that in the game. And like, oh no, she's good. If you ever watch her, she streams too. Like, if you ever watch her play Splatoon 2, she is very good. But so I'm just, I'm still a little Padawan. I'm like level 19. I'm still getting up there. But yeah, it's now gotten to a point to where now I stream it every Friday night and I invite people to play with me. It's just so much fun, and I haven't played like a PvP kind of game like that I've really sunk my teeth into since, I don't know, Overwatch. That was like the last one that I really played, but this one is just so much fun. Between that, Streets of Rage 4, I got back into playing Streets of Rage 4 again. We were talking about Streets of Rage 2 earlier.
Yeah.
I'm going back and playing Streets of Rage 4 because of the DLC. The
I was
Mr.
gonna
X's
say,
Nightmare
yeah.
DLC. It's so good. It's so good. Being able to play as Estelle and Shiva, and there you go, Max, Jim. It's
Yep.
like, now you can play as Max. If you wait, did you get the DLC for it yet, Jim?
Not yet. I'm waiting for it to come to Switch.
It should be up.
Is
It's
it?
up, isn't
Oh,
it? Yeah,
I haven't
think
checked,
it's fun.
so-
It's been like a couple of weeks now. I hope it's up. It should be.
Okay,
Yeah,
'cause
it
I know
is,
like
'cause
the
I bought
first
it.
2 to
It
3
is.
weeks.
I have it.
Oh, okay. I'll have to
I
get
have it
that
'cause-
then.
Well, it's interesting because when day one, yeah. So what Jim is talking about, like when the DLC launched on day one, for some reason on the Switch it didn't work. Like there were some issues with it on PS4 as well, but on Xbox and on PC it worked like a champ. And I already had, it's up there. Well, here, actually I can reach it, but I do have Streets of Rage 4 on Xbox as well. So this is the European Signature Editions version. But yeah, I do have it on Xbox One, and the DLC does work with this version. So
Is that the
I
one with the
went ahead
headband?
Yes, this is the one with the headband.
Nah. That was one that I thought that I ordered, but I guess I was drunk and never hit like submit, which is fine. I don't need like a third copy of it, so I'm fine.
Well, I now have Streets of Rage 4 on literally everything except PS4. So
Nice.
But I'm gonna get it on PS4 when they re-release it with the DLC and on physical. Then I'll get it for PS4. Yeah, I have it on everything. Yay! But yeah, I did get it for Switch eventually because when I did stream it, when I did my Week of Rage stream, I got it for Switch to play with my buddy, Gamers Block Rival.
Okay.
So it is available on Switch now. So yeah, Jim, get it. If you haven't added me on Switch, add me. We'll play.
I think I did. I
absolutely
think
play.
we are friends on Switch. So
I think
no,
we are.
definitely
Yeah, you
have-
are. We are.
Yeah. I know. I definitely
Yeah,
got
definitely.
downloaded that. So I'll
Those
get
are
on
the
that.
two. And then the third one, and this is the one I was going to say, like Jim is probably going to be like super, super like jealous in that I've actually really been playing. Because are you familiar with this?
Oh, you son of a bitch! And yours actually works, doesn't it? Unlike My Life in
Yes.
Gaming.
Yes,
Those poor
Paprium.
guys.
Yeah. It was just like it's, and the thing is that I don't know if it's really the spectacle and everything behind the game in itself, but I'm already like I'm horribly addicted to it. Like I mean, pun intended, right? It's kind of the whole concept of the game is about drugs, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I'm actually kind of horribly addicted to the game. Like the graphics are awesome, the music is awesome, to a point to where I thought I was really okay. I'm just gonna stream the game and everything will be cool. But it's like no, I've already featured it on my next well, spoilers. My next 3 gaming items I'm proud to own. It's one of the games I talk about, and I'm also unveiling. This is what I was talking about when I said I'm bringing back the treasure chest for it. It's for this game.
Well, yeah, because
Because,
like when I was like, oh yeah, like I didn't obviously get in on the Kickstarter 8 years ago. So
Me neither.
yeah, so, but I'm like, fucking, I saw the price to buy it new now, and I was like, I don't think I care about it that much. So
It's
no wonder it's in your
stupidly high
treasure
now.
chest series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, thankfully, like, I wasn't even expecting to get a copy of it either, because, like, a buddy of mine on Instagram, Retro Megabit, we were talking, and I mentioned, it's like, oh, with all this talk about Paprium, I gotta pronounce it right. It's like, of all the talk about Paprium, and I'm just like, I really wish I had a copy. I wish I'd actually bought one. He messaged me out of the blue, and he's like, oh, hey, G, I've got a spare copy of Paprium. Like, do you want it? Because he
awesome.
actually ordered 2. And I said, okay, well, what do you want? So we traded. I traded my my first print run copy of Pure Solar
Oh
for
wow.
Genesis.
Oh yeah, I remember you
traded
telling me that. Yeah.
Straight trade. So I just did a straight trade that for Paprium because I have Pure Solar on Dreamcast. So
Oh,
I was
yeah,
like, okay,
so-
well, I can just play it on that.
No brainer then.
Work out perfectly. But yeah, it's a crazy good game. And just like the amount of Easter eggs. Especially because, like, when I was streaming it and they were kind of guiding me through, it's like, oh, hey, punch through that door. Make sure you knock through all these things. The little tiny things, the little tiny escapes you could do, like, it really makes you wonder just, like, how many different endings and how many different paths can you take in what's perceived to be just a basic beat-em-up.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
And, like, this is really cool. Now, look, I get it. It's got a lot of controversy behind it. Fonzie is a crazy man. I get it. But
Yes, he
it's
is.
like the game itself is... The game is a lot of fun.
Nice.
It's a lot of fun. And I'm hoping because I know one of the other controversies that's popping in now is that Terra Onion, the people behind the Mega SD,
Yep.
the people behind, actually I can reach for it right here, like the people behind this guy, it's like the people behind the Mega SD, they're working with, or they're potentially working with Watermelon to see, hey, as long as you provide your serial number, we'll give you you have to pay for it, of course.
Yeah.
But, like, we'll give you a copy of Paprium to put on your Mega SD. And I'm like, ooh, now I'm interested. But I know a lot of people are angry about that because, some people still haven't gotten their copies of the game. And I get that. I totally get that.
And people
So-
who have their copies don't work, so no matter
Yeah,
what they
that
try to
too.
do. So.
And then, of course, my value on my game is gonna plummet. I'm like, I don't care about your value.
Yeah.
I just want people to be able to play this game because it's really good. Because Lord knows if it's because I know Fonzie has basically said, hey, I only want this to be on the Genesis. I do not want this to on the Mega Drive. I do not want this
Yeah.
to be on anything else. So as long as the man is alive, there's a good chance that it's probably never gonna get ported to anything else. So I'm just like, hey, get it while you can.
Yeah.
But I'm wondering if they do find a way to actually pump it onto the Mega SD. Now the thing is, I'm wondering really if the floodgates will open with that. But that's a whole nother story.
Yeah.
Oh, it will. I
on
guarantee
that,
it will.
Yeah.
If it hasn't already, yeah. I mean, you figure ROM.
Yeah, nobody's figured it out yet.
Yeah.
But who knows? It just
I'm
might.
sure the mishmash of like circuitry and like the ROM and fucking all that stuff is just a mess. So
Right, and my plate fell off. My metal plate that was on the cart, because when I opened it on stream, I was like, what's that rattle sound?
oh, you had to
And
rattle.
the
Yep.
And the retro megabit mentions like, oh, your metal plate probably fell off. It's okay. You don't need to put it back on.
Yeah, everyone's just like, yeah, just
Oh.
take it off. I'm like, this is so fucking weird.
And it's like, okay, and then I looked at the board. I was like, wow, that's weird. But hey, it works fine. The game's great. So it's got some. I mean, I'll save my main thoughts for the review, but basically all I have to say is just kind of hold back your inhibitions to hate the game for certain obvious reasons and just try it.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like it's really really good.
Nice.
But yeah, that's basically what I've been playing lately. And aside from like I said, the stuff I've been playing either for YouTube or on stream, and the occasional game of Mario Kart with my wife.
There you
There you
go. Like it. What about you, Chambers?
Well, I'm starting to get a head start on my October of going through all my horror games. So
Hey,
been doing game capture for a fuckload of games lately. But actually, while I was doing that, I popped in a couple CDI games that like I've been meaning to try out since I got them. So I played some based on Genovi's recommendation. Good old Mutant Rampage
Dang.
Body Slam. So
Shinobi, good man.
wound up
He's
getting
the
that.
reason. He's one of the reasons why I'm doing my 32x videos because of him. And
Oh
it's like,
yeah,
good man.
he's another aficionado right there. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So after seeing his video on that, and I make a small cameo on that too.
Nice.
Yeah, I was like, all right, let me try this out, and he likes it a lot more than I do. But I will say it's definitely one of the better games for the CDI. So
Sure.
if you have a CDI, it's probably one you should definitely have. And I actually dipped into that Joy of Sex that I have, and I was like,
Oh my god. Of course.
look,
Can I say it? Wait, Brian. Can I say it? Can I say it, please?
Do it.
Go ahead,
Can I
say it.
Damn it, Jim.
they were taking adult-only games off eBay. I had to get some history, so I did it for historical value. I don't know what you guys are talking
You
about.
didn't have to do anything, Jim. You damn well know what you're doing. Just like I have
Historic value.
Yeah. Just like I'm pushing for horror collection, I see where your collecting will go in the future. You've already started it pretty small.
So, Jim, my question is that so now you're delving into that realm on CDI. When are you going to delve into that realm on the 3DO? Remember, over in Japan.
Oh, that is true. Well, I don't. Luckily, I don't have a 3DO, and it's not like there's any deals out there to be found for
No.
the 3DO. So unless I get a like a random crazy Goodwill find, like Brian Zillbleed is my CDI console. So unless
Hey.
I find something crazy like that, I'll probably never dip into the 3DO.
But Jim, what about the little tip we got over the weekend about the Atari collection?
I was actually a little bit tempted about that. I just don't have that kind of expendable cash right now.
Yeah. Apparently there's a full
we got a hot tip about some new old stock of Atari porn games that are out there. And it's like the entire run of all the porn games. So you can get like the whole set.
All the Panesian stuff? Wow.
Yep.
Dang.
Yeah.
If I had the spare cash, I'd be like, I'd probably Yeah, if I didn't get sucked into the stock meme back in January, I probably would have been hopping all over these right now. So,
Right.
goddamn Wall Street bets fucking me twice.
Damn it, Jim.
Can't.
So yeah, my gaming's been a lot. This past week has just been particularly nuts. But I've been super getting the obsession with the Dead by Daylight continuing because they just announced the next chapter is going to be Hellraiser. Well, Pinhead from Hellraiser, I should say. Here's the deal. I'll say it right now. Dead by Daylight is both the best and worst game in the world because it's the best horror game at getting licensed games like coming to it for licensed horror franchises, but it's one of the worst communities. It's one of the most toxic. From my streams, people know what I'm talking about, the type of messages I've gotten from people just being butthurt when they lose. But it's still a game I can't turn away. So being a horror fan, you can't help yourself. But yeah, that's kind of been my main focus this past week. Gonna be jumping more into the final MK game that I have to review with Jim. Well, we have 2 to go, but I need to play one of them. So there's only 2 left. I'll leave it to your guys' imaginations which one it is.
Right, just say you have to play Special Forces. You have to play.
We have to play Special Forces.
It's not that deep.
Because you already did mythologies, right?
Yes,
yeah,
we did.
So all we
'cause you
have
did
is
mythologies.
Shaolin monks and Special Forces.
Shaolin monks.
It's a great game, and
That's
I already
so good.
I beat that game a couple weeks ago before I gave it to Jim. I said that's one of those games we've talked about. It pisses me off. I'm only just playing it now, and I didn't
right.
play it back in the day.
It's so good, and it's such a shame that game has gone up a lot in value now too. So I'm just like, man, I would love to play. I played a little tiny bit of it with my buddy Triple S like recently. It's like, dang, this game still holds up. It's really good.
It does.
Yeah, it's good.
And the amount of replayability with the amount of secrets and stuff, it's insane in that game. It's really, really well done. Special Forces, I have a feeling, is not the same.
No, Special Forces is.
Just you wait, Brian.
Yeah, I won't spoil it for you. I won't crush your heart.
At least
I'll let the game
short.
crush your heart for you.
At least it's short.
So yeah, so that rounds out what we've been playing. But we only got a couple articles this week, Jim. But the first one is something I knew absolutely nothing about. It comes to us from VideoGamesChronicle.com, and it's all about the next mini console. It's actually the Amiga 500, which I am clueless on Amiga, so you guys, you can kind of take it away. Does this seem like a valuable thing? Do you know about the Amiga at all?
My own personal experience with the Amiga has basically kind of been by proxy. It's not like I know I have a lot of friends like over in the UK and however that live and swear by the Amiga. You know, like they love like the Amiga portable consoles, whether it be like not portable, I'm sorry, but like their the British computers and microcomputers. Yeah. That's what I meant to say. Yeah, it's like the microcomputers that people that have sworn by that. I remember like way back when, like my wife actually knew somebody locally that had an Amiga CD32, and she almost got it for me. And I'm actually kind of. It's like, hey, that was a good gesture, but you didn't have to do that. But the CD32 was kind of the offset of the Amiga that didn't really do so hot, right? Mm-hmm. Like that was the one that kind of, I'm not gonna say really put down the Amiga, but really affected it in a negative way. It's like this one is supposed to be like the Amiga 500, right? It's like originally released in 1987. And then this one essentially is made. So it reminds me a lot of the Commodore 64 Mini. It's done by the same people, I believe, right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Retro Games Limited. It's done by the same people who did that. So that means 2 things. It's like, one, it's going to look beautiful. Like, it's going to look like the real thing. And then 2, it's going to be easy to go in and add your own stuff. Because that's one of the things about the C64 Mini. They made no qualms about it. Like, when it came out, they're just like, hey, here it is. Here's the USB port. Go ahead and add whatever you want with it. Go nuts. And I have to respect that. You know, it's like because the thing about all these micro consoles, with the exception of the TurboGrafx Mini, because I know that's the one that people are still trying to crack into. But, like, it always gives me, like, all kinds of respect, like, when the company that says, okay, we're putting out this micro console. We already know what you're going to do with it. So, you might as well just go make it easy for people to do it. To me, I think that probably incites more sales than anything, too. But, like, I'm looking at the article here, but it just really comes down to, like, how much I'm a complete noob to the Amiga. Like, I'm looking at all these games on the list, and literally only 4 of these games I'm familiar with, really. Like, I'm familiar with Another World, which is out of this world.
Right.
The Chaos Engine, Worms, Speedball 2, and Zool. Like, that's about it.
Excuse me.
Chaos Engine is awesome. I mean, Soldiers of Fortune, whatever you want to call it. I mean, it's like, that game is awesome.
Yeah.
And now it's just like, okay, those are all the main, like, Amiga games that I can really think of that are the good ones. Like, I know a lot of the bad ones. Like, a lot of the good ones I can really think of. So, but at the same time, it's like, it piques my interest because as somebody who is, in fact, it's over there on the couch, I wish I could reach for it. I'm actually working on a console consultation on another console. I say that loosely, another console, because, like, I have no idea what to do with it. My buddy Joel, aka Mr. Madgear, he let me borrow his Atari VCS. He actually got an Atari VCS.
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
And he let me borrow it for a review. And I'm like, I have no idea what this thing does. I've actually been very blind about it. So I figured it would be kind of fun to go into it and tinker with it and just kind of learn as I go. I feel like I would do the same thing with this Amiga A500. And also, I do kind of like the fact that one of the problems with the Amiga controller that I never liked was how the buttons were angled. They always had like this funky kind of angled buttons to it. It looks like they fixed that. So it looks like the buttons are angled vertically like a Super Nintendo controller. I'm like, that's awesome. Good. So I'm glad that they fixed that. So the price concerns me.
That's a big barrier to entry right there. 140 bucks US, like that. And that's before shipping. That's a fucking lot.
And I was talking earlier today because I was talking about the PlayStation Classic, and one of the reasons why it failed was because of its price point. And I'm just like, at 140 bucks US, that's a really, really tough sale. I really want to know because, like, I have a Commodore 64 Mini. I didn't actually buy a C64 Mini until it was 30 bucks.
Yeah.
So now I'm just like, I'm wondering how well this is going to take off at 140. To be completely honest, I don't think it's going to. I'm sure it'll probably do very well in the UK.
In the UK, yeah.
Oh yeah, it'll do fairly well in the UK.
It'll sell out
as
there.
it is. Oh yeah. Like as it is, I still wish I could get my copy on the. I always get them confused. Which one is the one that was Kickstarter Vaporware, and which one actually came out? I think it's the ZX Spectrum, the ZX Spectrum Next. Next is the one that came out.
Yeah, it's either the Next or the Vega Plus? I think the Vega Plus came out.
No. The Next is the one that actually came out. The Vega Plus is the one that had all the Kick Scammer drama.
Oh,
I believe.
Okay.
I believe I got that right. Somebody called DJ Slope. I believe that's
I know. Because one of them only came out like with 100 units, or like some of the backers got theirs, and then
that was the Vega.
Yeah.
That was the Vega. The Next was available in stores, but now they're kickstarting another one.
Oh, that's right. You're right. Yeah, the Vega was in stores. Yeah, the Nexus Plus was the one that only like 20 units actually got out into the wild. Yeah.
Right. So I'm just like, well, I would still love to get my hands on that, but I don't know how curious enough I am to spend $140 on an Amiga. Now, if they want to send me one to review, that's awesome.
Well, yeah.
But as far as like me plunking down that much money, especially considering where I'm at right now, that's a pass for me for now.
Let me ask you a really stupid question, but Commodore made Amiga, right?
Correct.
Why didn't they just do a combined system that does both?
I think, wasn't that the concept of what the CD32 is supposed to be? I think.
Maybe.
I could be wrong on that. Again, I'm not sure. I'm not sure on that.
And that was my question when I saw the and being a complete ignorant to all the microcomputers, I know there's a million different Commodores. I know there's a lot of different Amigas, but why not just have one catch-all that covers almost all of them? You get the best games, do it for $200. That way it's a high enough price point where you're making value, but it's low enough where you're covering enough systems. And like you said, the community's going to mod it anyway and make it work for them.
Right.
Like, I don't get it. Do they really need to separate it for that UK market and US that much?
I think for something like the Amiga, yes. Because there really is that much of, like, hardly anybody knows about the Amiga over here. People know about the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
But hardly anybody knows about the Amiga over here. But in fact, because I think even, like, I'm not sure how widespread it was, like, back in the day. But again, that kind of leads me back to my point. It's just, like, how much are they really expecting this to be a success here in the US? And considering Amiga with its super, super, super niche market, like even the TurboGrafx 16 Mini, I think is like, that's a super niche market, but that thing flew off the shelves.
Yeah.
But I think Konami also didn't make too many of them. So because they kind of knew
it wasn't going to be a huge thing. They didn't want to Sega Genesis Mini themselves.
Well, I mean, the Sega Genesis Mini actually did do super, super well. It's just Sega overproduced.
Right.
It's like
Yeah,
they
that's true, too.
overproduced, but I mean, they did still sell out. So I mean, like, can't complain. It did.
No, they
very
sold
well.
a shitload. It's great. Yeah.
Yeah, it's excellent. But this one, I don't know.
It's weird.
If you had to ask me what my thoughts on it now, I'm like, it's intriguing, but at that price point, and it's only supposed to have 25 games out of the gate, like, you can add more to it. That's great. But I don't know. I'm not that huge, and I'm not that curious enough to really delve into it. So to me, that's kind of a pass.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like a lot of our British friends, like we've said, like I've seen them all be like, "Oh, day one buy." I'm like, that's the market for it. So
Yeah.
Well, that was their childhood.
yeah.
That's like with us in the NES Mini. You know, it's like that was our childhood. So
yeah.
like they were gonna fly off the shelves. But the difference is that you'll actually be able to buy one of these on those shelves.
Yeah. Exactly.
Also true.
Yeah.
Yeah, what do you call it? Like, yeah, and it's weird they've only announced 12 games so far. Like, I gotta assume like a Turrican, one of the Turricans will show up on there,
Oh
but
yeah.
like that's got to be there, unless
So
like
I
you
wonder.
know.
That was going back to the Genesis Mini. That's also one of the reasons why the Genesis Mini was such a success too. Is because Sega staggered how long they were going to release, like what games were going to be on it. They did a really good job of building the suspense.
Yeah, they
on it.
did.
So when they did drop the bomb on it, and say, "Oh, hey, Mega Man: The Wily Wars is going to be on this," they're like, "What?" Or like Contra Hardcore, what? Castlevania Bloodlines, what? You know, it's like
With
yeah,
that super rare
you know?
Tetris, then we all played and went, oh,
Yeah, not a good version. Is it?
thank God I didn't spend 30 grand on that.
The funny thing is, like, why in the hell? And I mentioned this in my review. Like, why would you put the arcade version on this if this is supposed to be the Mega Drive version? Like, what?
Yeah, that was weird.
Hey, at least Darius is really good on it.
That is true.
So.
But yeah, now I'm in the same boat as you. Like, it's something I'm really interested in, but I'm not going to spend the money on it.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it's a thing where it's like,
definitely
if I would have cared enough, I would have just emulated it by now, and I obviously haven't cared enough to, so.
right.
So if you're listening to this, YouTube or iTunes, if you're from the UK or US, let us know, and let us know if you're excited and why you're excited. Because we would love to hear feedback from people who are definitely really, really amped for this. And if it seems like the price point is a little too high, even if you're in the UK and are an ultra fan of the system. So we'd love to hear. All right, Chambers. This next one.
But speaking of excited,
I know you're excited, you son of a bitch. This
fatties
came to us-
everywhere rise up.
I am too, actually.
This came to us from our buddy Todd Snarcast. He tagged us in an article. This is CNBC, but it's probably everywhere. PepsiCo and Boston Beer are the people who make Sam Adams, to create the alcoholic Mountain Dew drink. And so far, I see 3 specific cans that are in this article. They all say hard. There's one that's just the straight up Mountain Dew, one that's black cherry, and one that's watermelon. They're all 0 sugar, and they're 5% alcohol. So, will we all try it? Absolutely.
Yes.
Hands down.
We will try
Gimme.
all of
Gimme
them.
it.
Here's the
Gimme
deal, Jim, though. Be honest. Is there any chance they're going to be as good as Not Your Father's version of Mountain Dew?
I mean, it's coming right from Pepsi this time, though, so it's not like an imitation. So,
But even if it's coming from Pepsi, it's not going to taste exactly like once you add the
it won't.
alcohol, it's gonna. That's where it's like, are they gonna try to make it taste more like a soda, or are they gonna try to make it taste more like an alcoholic beverage?
right, that's the rub right there. That's what we got to find out.
Yep, that's the mystery.
Yeah.
And that's what they want you to do. They're like, they don't want you to think, hey, this might be 100% like alcohol, 1% like Mountain Dew. Like, what's kind of the middle ground on this?
I mean, amazingly
You know,
enough,
like,
the Not Your Father's Mountain Dew is like the one drink I've ever had that's actually more sugary than an actual Mountain Dew.
I'm
So-
not surprised.
but here's the deal: no one in their right mind ever gets a diet Mountain Dew. You always get
No.
regular, and this is 0 sugar, so they're not even doing the right Mountain Dew for it.
Oh, so sugar Mountain Dew I didn't think was bad.
No, it's
This
not
Diet
bad.
Mountain Dew is weird.
It's better than diet.
Now, as somebody who actually is a legit fan of Mountain Dew, like normally if this, like I don't really drink cold drinks much at all anymore. I mainly like coffee, tea, water. That's basically it.
Yeah.
But the thing is, that's part of my diet, so I lost all that weight. But my thing is that Mountain Dew, whenever they come out with a new flavor, I want to try it at least once. And so with something like this, though, ooh, I hands down want to try it. So it's like what the flavors are: regular, black cherry, and watermelon.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's a whole brand new one for them. Well, I mean, black cherry too.
Yeah, so that's
Well, black cherry's been around. I mean, black cherry's in Kickstart.
Listen, they
On
could
the
have got
Kickstarter.
me a lot
Oh, that's
more.
a good point. Oh shit, that is a good one. Fuck, you're right.
They could
Well, I
have.
love Kickstart.
That
I
is a
do
good
get the
one.
occasional Kickstart.
They could have gotten me a whole lot more with Code Red.
True.
Well, obviously.
Well, maybe they couldn't get the flavor right for Code
Yeah.
Red. I mean, possibly. Because Code Red is still in production, right?
Yeah, it
I
is.
believe so.
Yeah, that survived the test of time. Yeah, like they had their seasonal ones. That one, actually, that one cherry seasonal Christmas time one was pretty good too, but it wasn't around too long.
So this begs the question, though: if this is successful, will it just obviously open the doors for all the other major? Are we going to see an alcoholic Pepsi, Coke,
Yeah.
but actually brand it? Because, like
Yeah.
I said, the closest we saw was Not Your Father's root beer, which did the Mountain Dew, and there's been other soda-like hard drinks out there, but I guess Mountain Dew of all, when I think of sodas, that is probably the easiest to transition to beer, right? That could kind of capture both. Because if you came out the gate with Pepsi or Coke, it might not be as good of a selling point. So they're probably just using this as a test market. So what do you think Coke's immediate response back is? Classic Coke, or are they going to do one of their offshoots?
I would think it would be more just start with classic. I mean, it just makes sense. Like, to me, I think if they were going to do something like a hard Coke or something like that, which sounds terrible if you think about it, but it's like if you were going to do that, it's like, yeah, I would probably just start with the original and then maybe delve into some of the others.
Doesn't Coke already have like a pre-packaged rum and Coke kind of drink?
Do they?
I think they might.
I don't know. I know there's Coke Energy.
I think I might have had it.
I don't know
once.
about that.
They actually
Which
the
is-
coffee Coke's pretty good. That like combo that they have.
I haven't tried that one. I know the Coke Energy was gross. And when I tried it, I thought it was gross. But that one, I'm like, I don't know, maybe. But I think if they were to try to go with like a hard Coca-Cola, start with the original and just kind of go from there. And then they're gonna make a Diet Coke.
Oh yeah, there'll definitely be a
Diet,
Sprite.
they'll
There'll
do
definitely be a
cherry,
Sprite.
they'll do Sprite. It's gonna be, but like I said, I look at this as this is a symptom of they're doing what Jim did with stocks, like where the seltzer market was hot, and I feel like the hard seltzers, the mainstays are still around, but everyone and their mother came in and was like, oh, we need to make a hard drink for this or that.
Yep.
They're just trying to get in, and I feel like it's a little late. It will get an initial surge, but unless that thing is absolutely delicious, it'll be something that in 2 years will be gone. It's my prediction.
I think so. Because it's a fad. At the end of the day, it's a fad.
That's all it is.
So just see if it... they're throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks, and what sticks might not be a whole lot, but if it does, then hey, they got a whole new success on their hands.
Yeah.
But I don't know. We'll see. But I am very, very, very hyped for this. I'm down to try this.
Oh yeah, we're all
So it's like, hey,
jumping into this.
if these are supposed to come out by early 2022, so hey, maybe sometime... Well, let me ask y'all a question. Without saying anything, like, how far are y'all from Long Island?
As far as a drive goes, probably like 3-4 hours.
Okay, just wondering. We'll talk offline.
Okay.
Maybe we'll hold
Alright.
on something like that.
I like it.
But yeah, I'm hyped for this. I want this. I want to try it.
Yeah, no, I'm definitely... Yeah, anytime I see this shit, I'm down. So, speaking of random things to try, though, it's not related to beer. I just had to throw it out here and ask. Have you guys tried the Taco Bell Mild and Fire chips they made?
Mm-mm.
They're not Doritos. They're a whole bag. They say Taco
No.
Bell on it. I just bought them at...
I haven't seen that.
It
I
was
haven't seen it either.
Yeah, I got it at an Aldi, and it was like their Mild and Fire, like the hot sauce packet, but that's what flavor. They look just like Doritos, but they're not. So I just saw that, and I was like, I've never seen these before. I didn't think they were that new, but they're interesting is the best thing I'll say.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? Aldi does have? What's their their house brand for chips? Like it's like Irish sounding, like McCleary's or some shit like
something
that.
like that, yeah.
Dude, their like Doritos knockoffs taste just like Doritos from like the early '90s. They're fucking great.
Interesting.
I like how you're specific with early 90s.
It was a different flavor back then.
I know, but I still
Weird.
love the current Doritos flavor.
I like colored Doritos too. Don't get me wrong, but it's like a nice weird throwback where it's like seemingly like extra crunchy with like a little bit less of the nacho sauce on there and shit like that. It's good.
Jim, I mean, we didn't all have Doritos in our dishwashers like you, so.
Yeah. Get on my level.
Now, a question. Do you guys have KFC where you're at?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You do? Have you gotten a chance to try Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning yet?
No.
No.
Oh, go try it. It's so
Sweet
good.
Lightning. Okay.
Oh, it's so good. It's honey. It's like honey ginger. And
Really?
It is extremely good.
I'm writing
Like,
right
Christ,
now.
wow.
My titties
Emily-
have grown again.
I mean, like it. I mean, like more than like. See, I feel Baja Blast is kind of overrated. I know
It
like
is.
a lot of people love
It's
Baja
very,
Blast.
very overrated.
Honey peach.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but yeah, it's a honey peach flavor. It's so good. Good.
All right,
try
I gotta
it.
try that.
And G, to answer your question earlier, it's just under 2.5 hours to get to Long Island.
Oh, is that
Okay.
all? Shit.
Yeah.
Nice. All right. Cool.
All right. So, yeah, you guys let us know in the comments below. Todd, once again, thank you for sending us that article. But let us know, are you excited? Are you going to try it? And what other random soft drinks would you like to see turned alcoholic? So, you know that's what we're all about here on this channel.
Give me my Mr. Pibb.
Shut up, Jim. All right. So, this is... I don't want to call it reoccurring, but it's related to our episode last week. And unfortunately, we didn't have G here with us last week, where we went over Screen Rant's ranking of every Sega console, but they also did a ranking of all the PlayStation consoles. Now, just a heads up, it's only home consoles, so they don't include the Vita or PSP or any of that. So, yeah.
But we can amend this.
It's a short list. It's only 5 long, but yeah, they did their list. So Jim, G, do you guys want to run through it, see what you guys think?
All right. I mean, like, just basically go through what they have there.
Yeah.
I mean, right
I
at
think
the bottom.
I think it's pretty fair from what I've seen already.
Yeah.
I mean, I kind of thumbed through it, and there's one that I feel like I would flip a little tiny bit.
So let's go through. So number 5, we got the PS5. I think it's fair to put that there because, in all honesty, most people don't have it, and there's no games for it. Like,
Yep, it's still too new.
yeah.
Yep.
Whether it undoubtedly is going to be the biggest powerhouse of this next gen, it's unproven at this point.
Right.
Number 4, the PS3. It's funny. I'm torn on this because it's my favorite Blu-ray player that I still use today. It
Everybody
has a
did.
lot
Yep.
of great games. It also had aside from Nintendo, which is dog shit when it comes to multiplayer and network access, it had the most hacks of any system, I feel like, in history
Yes.
for their network.
Yes.
But it was still a goddamn great console. It's tough for me to say, like, does it definitely deserve it? But then when you go to number 3, you see PS1, the one that started it all, the true kind of, I don't want to call it successor to Sega, but the true competition to Nintendo moving forward at that generation. And I still love the shit. Like, so many games from that system, I still look at as, like, revolutionary. I love the hell out of it. So I feel like I didn't know where I would want to see this on this list, but 3 kind of feels right to me, one way or another. Whether it should be higher or not is debatable. I don't know. 2 is PlayStation 4. So I do really like my PS4, and they does have a lot of really good games on it. I don't know that I think it deserves to be number 2. I don't know if I would be swapping that with the PS1 or the PS3, but what do you guys think?
I would.
Which one?
I would swap the PS1 with the PS4. Now, this is coming from a guy who doesn't have a PS4, obviously, but I just think, like, in general, knowing the library and stuff like that, it's like the PS1 was just so revolutionary and started so many new series, and like yeah, like obviously from that generation, a shitload doesn't hold up, but all the games I like still hold up. So
That's kind of my take. Personally, I would leave, like, if I'm looking at this list, I would leave the PlayStation 1 where it's at. I think really at number 3, that's what I would do. Personally, I would swap the PS3 and the PS4. I'd swap those two together. Because I feel that the PlayStation 3, like, that whole generation, the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 generation, right? Like, that whole generation, like, hit so hard.
Dude.
Like, there were so many, like, outstanding games that came in that
yeah.
generation. It was the introduction of HD. It was the introduction of Blu-ray. It was the first true introduction to online play. There are so many great games that actually really came from that particular generation.
Oh yeah.
I know I'm about to, like, old man yells at cloud, get on a soapbox sort of getting here. It's, it's the retro gamer in the crew, right? But the thing is that I can't really, if you had to ask me, like, right off the bat, it's like, hey, name, like, 10 or 20 games in the Xbox 360 or PS3 generation, I could be like, boom, 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 boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom. Like, these games are all, like, super, super important.
Right.
All right, now do the same thing for PS4 Xbox One. I'm like, that's why I start to struggle a little bit. And it's like, I feel like the games are a lot more impactful. I think the PlayStation 1 is important because it was the original. Like, it was the system that truly spurred 3D gaming. Like, it was the one that truly spurred the CD era of gaming. It was the one that really took the world by storm and nobody expected. Like, nobody expected Sony to come into the game and basically just knock everybody out of the water,
Yeah.
including Nintendo.
Oh, yeah.
Like, nobody expected that. And even though, yes, a lot of the game library is a little rough to play now, so much of it is so influential to the ones that we are now. You can't not take away the historical aspect of it. But I think just from the gaming library, because games are king, the gaming library, like, as a whole, I think the PlayStation 3 is stronger than the PS1. And I think they're both stronger than the PS4. However, I 100% agree with what's number one.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I
Yeah,
can't
you can't
debate
argue
that.
the PS2.
But
Cannot debate that.
Yeah.
The PS2 is just incredible.
and let me go back. So, that's kind of why I said I think that number 2 spot, PS4, I was fine swapping with PS3 or PS1. You made a good point. I have nostalgia for PS1. Is the only issue I have where I would put number 2. But honestly, either way, I put the PS4 at number 4, regardless.
Yeah.
And it's just really the PS3 and PS1 is where but number 1, PS2, I've said many times, that is my favorite console. That is one of my biggest collections. I think when you go back for any system, for me personally, when you go back, I know its library is probably the biggest library of any gaming ever.
I believe so.
Yeah. So
If not the biggest, it's definitely one of the biggest.
but it's also the one I almost so many times when I go back and play a game, I go, oh, damn, this game actually holds up really well. It's really fun. It like perfected the 3D enough where it doesn't look so shitty that you can't play it, but it's not so trying to be so picture perfect where they were trying to be too realistic.
Right.
And their games are just stupid fun, but they had plenty of deep games too. So it hit that fun like retro feel with a more modern feel. It was that perfect system that teetered on both of them, and I still say it's my favorite system because of all those reasons. And I'm always finding myself surprised when I play a game how much more I enjoy it going back. So yeah, for me, it's definitely easily number 1.
I agree.
Yeah,
I
and
agree.
with that library, it's got a little bit of everything, too.
Yeah, it's not
Yep,
it's not
exactly.
like Sega. That's just sports games.
Hey, and shmups.
And shmups,
shmups.
yeah.
That's right.
No, PS2 is I don't know. It'd be tough for me to ever see that uncrowned as best console ever. But yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a much more of a tougher debate.
Oh,
But-
yeah.
And it's like I'm looking at this list, and I'm not only am I looking at it from a PlayStation standpoint, but I'm also looking at it from a generation standpoint. And that's I'm just like that. Just that generation as a whole is just so strong. I mean, the PS2, the GameCube, the Xbox, to an extent, the Dreamcast. Like that whole generation is just so strong. And you pretty much put it eloquently, Brian. Like it was a good middle ground between hyper realism and still having a good level of fantasy.
Yeah.
The GameCube is probably one of the best examples of that. Like so many games on the GameCube, even though yes they're not like hyper realistic like some of the games in the next generation up, they still have held up because it hasn't gone too far in that direction.
I put the
Same thing with
GameCube
the PS2
there
and the
too.
Xbox.
Yeah. The only thing the GameCube just can't match the library of PS2 with the quantity.
True.
But I said the GameCube is probably the most underrated Nintendo's consoles because
I agree.
not enough
Yeah.
people played it, and a lot of their games are bangers that people just don't talk about.
Yep.
Yeah.
But yeah, the PS2 is easily, and then it's like I know that you don't ever want to throw this argument, but it's just like you can't always just play your PS1 games on it too, right? So
Yeah.
and it's just like it's like you can do that. So
Yeah.
that kind of takes the PS1, unless you want to play Tomb Raider. It kind of takes the PS1 like out of the picture.
And I
But,
also,
yeah.
that's part of the reason why I think I support your argument. You just saying that puts the PS3 at number 2 for me as well, because I played my PS1 games on my PS3.
Yep.
And that's where I capture my PS1 games. So
Yeah, it's how I do
and
it
then
too.
and then the PSN market.
Yeah.
Lots of digital games that you can get on that. You can't get those on PS4.
yeah. And
Yeah.
and as a let me tell you, as a horror collector, I got the whole Fatal Frame series on the PS3 for dirt cheap. So I
Yep.
love that network for its game availability.
Yeah, we were talking about Klonoa earlier, and that's what I tell everybody. It's like, because there's a copy of Klonoa sitting in a local store right now for $280.
Yeah.
And I tell people, like, hey, well, you know what? That's all nice and all, but you do realize that you could go get this on PSN right now for $8, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, go spend the $8 and just enjoy this wonderful game. You know?
PS3.
Unless you really need that for your collection, then go for it.
Yeah.
But, you know.
No,
I have Klonoa for PS1, thankfully, so...
All right, so now to spice it up a little bit. So the two biggest things they left off there, obviously, the PSP and the Vita. So if you were going to throw them in there on this list, where would you throw them?
Oh, man. PSP. Oh, God. So, look, my heart wants to throw the Vita pretty high up there, but we gotta be realistic, right? Gotta be realistic, like, on the game library and whatnot. As much as I love the Vita is way too niche to be, like, a serious contender for, like, a top level on that. If we had to toss them both in there, I would probably put the Vita right above the PS5.
That's what I was going to say.
It's like, say, the PS5 would be 7th, the Vita would be 6th. That's what I would really say. Like, it's a beautiful console. From a technology standpoint, it's freaking awesome. Like, it absolutely is. But the game library, unless, you know, you're a weeb like me, it's kind of hard to really delve into a lot of the games that are on the Vita, because Sony gave up on it too soon.
Yeah.
And the third-party companies didn't really, aside from, like, the indie companies and whatnot, they didn't really make a whole lot of effort to really make the Vita stand out and live for as long as it did. I'm shocked that the Vita lived as long as it did.
Yeah.
It outlasted everybody. It's like Impact Wrestling, hard to kill until it finally died. You know.
Yeah.
For real, yeah.
But it's like, yeah, I would put it there. Now the PSP, that's the tricky one, because the PSP was, in my opinion, now don't get me wrong, I'm about to throw Sega under the bus, and I'm sorry. PSP was the first real contender to Nintendo in the portable market. It was the one to really put a massive dent into, because Nintendo had also messed up with the original DS, you know, at least at the very beginning. They learned from it, and they quickly learned from it. But as far as, and the 3DS too. But as far as the PSP, the library on the PSP is so strong.
Yeah.
Like, it is extremely strong.
Yeah.
A lot of those games still play extremely well, and you can still pick up and play them today. A lot of them are still available digitally as well. You can play them on, you know, your Vita or your Vita TV. I can still play them on that. But I just think that overall it was a fun console. Where would I put it though? I kind of don't want to put it ahead of the PS1.
You know, I was going to
I'd
say,
probably say
fourth for the PSP.
I
like
think I
behind
would
the
put fourth
PS1.
on the PSP, right behind the PS1.
Yeah.
I think
'Cause
so. Put it
I-
above the PS3, but right behind the PS1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I slept on the PSP for way too long.
PS4, sorry.
Yeah. No, yeah. But yeah, I slept on the PSP for way too long, but when I finally like got a bundle of games for it, I was like, holy shit, this system's really good. Like because when it was out, like I just knew it as like kind of like what a lot of people say about Sega, as like the sports game system. Like I would see people playing it on the train when we'd be going to school, but everyone's just playing Madden on it. So I'm like, okay, whatever. But when I'm going back to it, I'm like, holy shit, like it's got amazing collections. Its first like party games are like all unique to it and like have that like it's like one of the last systems to have its like own true feel to it too, in a weird way. So it's like it's super impressive for what it is. Like I think a lot of people like you said, like it sold 30-some million units. Like it still did pretty damn good, which in the portable market, like the DS sold like 150 or something insane like that.
Yeah.
But just to even still make a dent like that is like impressive, and like it shows like just how good it was. And it probably could have done even better if more people talked about it, really.
Yeah.
Right. It was always kind of under the radar for so long, but when it hit hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with the placements of those two. I think it's an interesting debate, but I would love for anyone listening, watching, if for some reason you don't think PS2 should be one, that's what I would love to hear. I want to hear someone make that argument.
someone who hates the Xbox One a lot will make the argument for the PS4.
Right.
Because that's that fucking console war that's spurned off lately. Holy shit!
Yeah.
Lord,
I can't believe it.
Man, I don't get it. I don't get it.
I mean,
It took 20 years, but we finally got another toxic console war.
We do.
Holy shit.
We got it. So, no, let us know what you guys think of the ranking below. And once again, the link is in the description if you want to see it for yourself. But for our final topic, and it's a reoccurring bit, and I added it here at the beginning of the episode. It's a which is better, and it's perfect because G, I think, is the perfect guy to talk about it.
Talk to me.
Since I have limited knowledge on this. But as a content creator, someone who likes to engage in the communities, what's better, Twitch or YouTube?
Oh man,
Got him.
Loaded question.
So here, I'll preface this by saying, as
right.
someone who does both, you take, I think, more pride in general in your YouTube videos. You get the highest highs from YouTube and the lowest lows when you put all your effort into a video and it gets nothing and you don't get the interaction you think it deserves. It sucks. When something hits in Twitch, I feel like it's always a surprise. You're like, oh, cool. Like, I'm getting more people following. And the interaction is immediate. And I kind of feel like the interaction, for the most part, even when I see for big streamers, is usually more positive. YouTube is a little bit more toxic. Like, you just have someone, the random dislike button when somebody doesn't want to comment is like, okay, cool. You just hated it. I don't know why you hated it. Or like, you know, if you try to have any type of civil conversation with someone who does dislike, it usually devolves very fast. So YouTube, I feel like, becomes more toxic quicker, whereas Twitch, you can garner interesting relationships with folks that if they come back to your stream time and time again. But when you hit hard like there, it's like an instant, like, oh, it feels good, but then it dissipates really fast. Whereas YouTube, obviously, it's always living there. And it just keeps building and building and building. So it's weird. As someone who likes editing and stuff, I love YouTube for that reason. But as someone who does love to just talk with people and fuck around, Twitch has a really high point there too. The only problem I see with Twitch is if you're not playing a game that's relevant, you're not relevant. Unless you have a really diehard community behind you. That's the caveat.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah. But you, like I said, you've now teetered on both really high, so what is your opinion on it?
Well, I think it really comes down to, I can't really say which is better without knowing your actual personality and what your true goals are, or what anybody's true goals are. Because to me, it's like, you're absolutely right. I think Twitch is awesome because you do get that immediate interaction. You do get that immediate community building. You do get that immediate results, especially like if you're looking at it from, say, like people who want to subscribe to you or who want to, provide bits or gift subs or anything like that. Those things all happen kind of immediate, where with YouTube, it is more of a slow, kind of gradual process, like of anything like that. But it also depends on your personality, and it depends on the amount of work that you're willing to put into it. The thing is that with Twitch, there might not be as much work on, like, say, on the editing and, like, on the back end and whatnot, but consistency, and this applies for both of them, really, that consistency is key. But more important on Twitch is consistency key. And people know that, hey, that these are the times that you're really going to be on, and this is the kind of stuff that you like to play, then more people are going to come through. But I know you were saying just now, it's like if the game that you're playing isn't relevant, then it could be a little bit of a tougher start, which, yes, there is some truth to that. There absolutely is some truth to that, because a lot of Twitch rides on what's hot and what's popular. But once you've actually been there long enough, especially in the retro community, like if you've actually been there long enough and you've built that good community, the majority of the time, kind of my goal with Twitch is that people want to come to hang out with you and talk to you regardless of what you're playing. Like, if you're playing, unless if it's something that they actively completely dislike, if they know, hey, this guy is more akin to retro or something like that, no matter what game that he plays, that people are going to show up. Like, I was actually shocked at how many people, because, I'm mainly a Sega guy, I was actually shocked at how many people showed up when I played Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for NES. And it wasn't any raids, there wasn't anything like that, it's just people just showed up and just wanted to talk. And it's like, well, hey, that's great. But, however, when you're looking at it from a creator standpoint, especially for somebody who wants to do this, YouTube, I feel, is more satisfying overall, because you feel that creators what's it called? That creator's inspiration. You feel a lot more of that creator's inspiration because you're spending that time editing. You're writing your script. You're putting yourself together, like to appear on camera, if that's your thing. It's there's a lot more to it. Like you said, you really love editing. Some people hate editing. I totally get that. But like if you love editing and if you're more akin to like having that sort of passive sort of response, then I think YouTube is a better fit. Now, that being said, you can do live on YouTube, but I've noticed like doing live on YouTube doesn't quite have the same feel. It doesn't quite have the same interactions or anything that Twitch might have. So, like every now and then I'll do a live stream on YouTube. It's not very often, but every now and then I do. But it seems like even though, yeah, I've got a different audience here and a different audience there, it seems like the interactivity is just so much better on Twitch. And I think it's also because people are more akin to that. So, I think really it just comes down to what your end goal is. Like if you want to have like more of a consistent schedule, you don't mind being on all the time, and you like being able to be able to switch up your style of content, what that you want to do after you've really kind of built your audience, and you don't mind the build being slow, because it is going to be a slow build. Trust me, I know this. It's going to be,
Us too.
I'd say Twitch. Yeah, I would say Twitch would be the better case to be. And then, but when it comes down to, if you like more on the creating side, like you want to be able to expand and grow your abilities as an editor and being able to do more on your own pace, then I would say YouTube is probably the better way to go. I like doing both, mainly because I get that creator's high from editing. I get that creator's high from being able to go through. Now, granted, that flame, I'll be completely honest, that flame was put out for several months. And it's only like just now, Twitch was really the thing that helped build that flame back up. And it's like, okay, now I feel like I'm ready. You know, it helps that now I'm doing this full time. But it's like, now I feel like I'm ready to come back to Twitch with a bang. You know, I mean, not Twitch, YouTube. To come back to YouTube with a bang. You know, but it just really comes down to, I think it's just really, and I say to anybody, if you're just now starting, try a little bit of both and see which one works your hands. If you like that instant interactivity and being able to be on like all the time, then Twitch might be a better bet for you. If you like it to be a little bit passive and have a slow build and build your audience that way, and maybe if you have all these projects down the line and you don't know what to do with them, YouTube would probably be the better way to go.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if you have like a content plan, to me, if you have like a content plan of what you want to do, I think YouTube is the better bet. Because like from there you can kind of plan your ways out and go, whereas with Twitch, like, okay, well, I want to play this game and this game. Like, say for example, I try to leave my things themed. Like Mondays is normally mascot platformers, Tuesdays is retro, Thursdays is normally either like PlayStation 2 and beyond or retro inspired games, Friday nights is random retro plus Splatoon, and then Sundays Ring Fit and Switch games. I have a theme, I have a schedule, that's what I do.
Yeah.
And that's why, honestly, that's what's been working. You know, but with YouTube it's a little bit different because you want to have consistent content, but at the same time, as long as you have a general theme and your personality is strong enough and your desires will enough, then people are going to flock to you.
Yeah.
But I can't stress enough that it takes time. It is not immediate. If you do blow up on something randomly like immediate, it's take a little bit to kind of take a look and see what made that blow up and why. Because if you go back and you try to do something that doesn't quite match what blows up, like say for example, I know one early mistake I made with YouTube. One super early mistake I made was hyper focusing on Sonic stuff. That was an early. I'll take that L. That was a super huge mistake because like for the longest time, like people were just like, oh, where's the Sonic content? Where's the Sonic content? I still get that every now and then. It's like, hey, where's the Sonic stuff? Like I still get it, you know. But at the same time, it's like, hey, I would hope that you would appreciate my other style of content along with that, and then I'll put out something that's not Sega or Sonic related, and it doesn't do super well. Like the Astro City Mini tier list didn't do super well.
Yeah.
But then I do something about Golden Axe, and I'm like, whoa, this actually did extremely well. So it's all about finding what your audience really, really wants. And I feel that it's a little bit more difficult to do that on YouTube than it is on Twitch. But yeah, it just really comes down to what you prefer. And I say to everybody, try a little bit of both and see what actually works out best for you. I found that really, though, when it comes to doing content creation as a whole, it's really best to do both. Yeah. If you can balance it, it's really best to do both.
Yeah. No, I mean, this is one I don't, as everything you said, I think resonates true. I think Twitch cares more about the content creator. YouTube cares about the content. Like,
yeah,
you could get
that's probably a better or more succinct way of saying it.
You know, like if your personality is on target, people are going to keep coming back to you on Twitch. And like you said, consistency is key with both of them. Obviously, with Twitch, I did find it is. I feel like if you're not doing almost daily or as close to daily as possible, Twitch, it'll be a lot harder. Like, you know, I was doing once a week, and hey, I'm super happy for the growth we have had on Twitch. But it's like YouTube is so weird, and I feel like Twitch doesn't have as much of an algorithm problem as YouTube. Whereas YouTube, all of a sudden, we can get a spike of like, wow, randomly we're getting views, and then all of a sudden they change like one little parameter, and all of a sudden now we can't get shit, and you're like, I'm still doing the same shit. Why is it different now? It makes no sense. So the frustration.
It doesn't.
You know,
it doesn't. I didn't even talk about algorithms in that. Like, you're absolutely right. Like, it feels like the Twitch algorithm is a lot easier to understand and try to make your way through than it is. YouTube, it's still a mystery, and it seems like whenever you kind of figure it out, they change something, and then now you got to figure it out again.
Yeah. And as being the guy that edits, I'll say, YouTube, it actually takes more effort, I think, to get more stuff on Twitch. You're never gonna get unless you get a raid from crazy famous people and like somehow randomly that happens. You're never just gonna randomly the consistency is the only key you really need with Twitch. Obviously, be entertaining, show games that people want to see, but YouTube, it doesn't matter. Consistency truly at what we're seeing, it doesn't matter. Like, you could spend 10 minutes on a video and then all of a sudden it gets a ton of views, or you can spend multiple hours, weeks, months. We've talked with other people, and it gets 10 views. Like, it makes zero difference. So the level of effort is not always equatable, and neither is the consistency with YouTube. Whereas Twitch, there's a direct correlation. Hard work pays off. YouTube, it's like random flash in a pan may pay off more dividends, and you can't predict that shit.
Yep, I agree with that. I definitely agree with that.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting. I don't know, Jim, what do you think?
Popular Twitch streamers are more bitchy, so I think I like YouTube better in general, but
YouTube has nothing now but drama within the YouTube community, and YouTubers doing drama about other drama, and then drama. So there's not that bitchy drama-ness on Twitch.
Oh, there's bitchy drama on
there's
Twitch, too.
Bitching people on Twitch, but all the drama that's reported on Twitch is reported on YouTube.
See, that's what I hope to bring to the table on Twitch. It's just like, hey, let's just chill and play some retro games. That's why I always put lurk friendly in my description. Just like, hey, even if you don't got anything to say, if I can be there to help you out while you're having your day, you're working or whatnot, it's like, hey, let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, YouTube is. I don't know.
But YouTube is a little different.
Yeah, it's funny though. To G's point from earlier. Oh, sorry, real fast. Now, to your point from earlier, like everything now, like I think our biggest mistake for our channel is that like early on when we finally started to like hit a little bit with the sports games when they were taking off, we were burnt out on that, so we stopped doing it. It's almost like with YouTube, you have to like just churn out the same shit over and over again until you have a big enough audience where you can like do something different and like maybe keep some of them. Whereas if you're if you're like a variety kind of person, then you're kind of fucked, because then like if there's no focus and YouTube doesn't focus you.
See, that's the problem. That's one of the issues that I have with YouTube. With Twitch, I feel like you have a little bit more freedom of being able to expand on your content than you do with YouTube. Like, I pride on being a variety kind of YouTuber. That's why I have multiple series on YouTube. I don't do the same thing over and over. But I feel like, hey, if I did do the same thing, like if I did center on just Sega stuff, or if I centered on especially if I did just Sonic the Hedgehog stuff, I probably have, honestly, if I did just Sonic stuff, I'd probably have like 20K subscribers. I probably would. Like, by this point, if I did. But I don't want to do that. Because, like, I don't want to burn myself out. And I feel like people will probably get tired of that after a while. And it's like, hey, now that I've caught your attention, let me talk to you about this game called Paprium. Have you heard about this? And it's like, oh, hey, now that I've got your attention, let's talk about the PlayStation Classic for a little bit. It's like, I'd like to do stuff like that. I don't like to stay in one particular lane unless I'm working for a company or something like that, then that's a little bit different.
Right. Yeah.
But as it is, just having the freedom of being able to do that, I feel that, there is a bit more reward on Twitch than there is on YouTube. But yeah, the other thing I did mention too, what Brian was talking about, is that yes, the comments. That's probably one of the biggest things. The comment section on YouTube, like, to me, and I'm probably, look, knock on wood, I believe this actually is real wood and not particle board. Like, knock on wood, I haven't had, aside from a few people calling me, like, Thick Daddy and however while I'm doing Ring Fit Adventure, which is weird. It's weird.
Sorry, that was my ult.
Of course it was. I'm not surprised. So my wife banned you.
Wonder what happened.
best mod ever. But the thing is that I haven't really had too many negative interactions with people on Twitch. It's been very, very few. Very few. Very few. Meanwhile, like on YouTube, it seems like at least a few times a month, like I'll get like this nasty comment for something. I'm just like, really? Why? What did I do? You know, like I did a review on Donna like 3 years ago on the Mega Drive, and like 2 weeks ago, somebody left like, oh, it's like, man, it's like these people are really reaching for content. And I was like, okay. I mean, I didn't delete the comment because I was like, all right, well, you know what, this
well, it's interaction helps.
It's your opinion. And A, yeah, it's interaction, but B, it's your opinion, and you didn't get nasty about it. But I'm just like, what's kind of the point of that? I feel that the community on Twitch with retro, and also with retro especially, I feel like the community on Twitch, like they're really there to really build and help each other out. And YouTube has that there as well, but then at the same time, you also got the people that are trying to knock you down. And I don't feel that. Granted, I'm still a small fry. I'm still a small fry on Twitch. But so far, I haven't felt that, and I hope it'll be very minimal.
Yeah. No, like you said, it's of course it's objective, but at the same time, I don't know. I look at it like Twitch. I lean as like it's a better overall experience for one to like if you're trying to develop the stuff. YouTube, if it hits hard and you hit good, you're probably gonna say YouTube. But, like, YouTube, like you said, it's just a weird hole of, like, there's too many hoops you have to jump through. You have to fit in the right perfect thing. Twitch, you can be more a little bit yourself.
Yep, true that.
So, no, I would love to see, though, in the comments, whether it's iTunes, Spotify, or YouTube, let us know what you guys think. Which one do you think's better? And especially if you're someone who watches and views, what's more enjoyable? Do you like just going to the YouTube videos, or do you like the ability to maybe interact with the person as they're playing a game? So I'm very curious what you guys think about that. But with that is the last topic for tonight. So before we sign off, G, first, how did that last beer treat you?
It's strange. That's why the best thing I can say about it. It's like when you open it, like when I opened it and I smelled it, I was like, wow, this smells delicious. And I tried it. It's like, I taste the berry in it, but I guess like the mixture of the berry and the wheat doesn't quite like, it's not bad, but like, and I feel that it is very light and very smooth. I get that. But it has this sort of strange combination taste to it. I can't quite put my finger on it. I'm like, it's okay. Yeah. And like, man, I kind of wish I had just gotten my second Stella instead. But it's all right. It's all right though.
And how about you, Chambers? Hershey's Porter. I know you liked it in the past.
That's weird.
Yeah, I liked it before. I still like it now. Beer snobs can go fuck themselves. This is delicious.
And Bud, still king of the beers.
Well, I mean,
AB and Bev,
trusty.
We love you. Give us sponsorships.
So with that, everyone, first, G, one more time, thank you for coming on. But where can everyone find you, and where should they find you?
Well, you can find me multiple places. I'm on YouTube, youtube.com/G to the next level. And like, welcome to the next level with a G like me. I always say that. I've got a whole bunch of new stuff coming in the pipeline. I know it's been a while, but I've got some new series. I've got From Gutter to Throne, which is my new ranking series about the 32X. That's the first one that's on the pipeline. It's coming up. I've got Mascot Mania, which is about mascot platformers. That's also coming up. New console consultations, including about the Atari VCS, the Neo Geo ASP, the Sega Astro City Mini. All kinds of new stuff is actually coming through in the pipeline on YouTube. So definitely come give me a subscribe, like basically on there. On Twitch, twitch.tv/G to the next level. I stream roughly 3 to 5 days a week, depending on how things go. I'm leaning more towards 5 days a week. But yeah, I stream retro and retro-inspired games for the most part. Switch games on Sundays, Splatoon 2s on Fridays. And right now, I know the main themes I've got going on is on every Thursday, I'm doing Shadow the Hedgehog. So, like, that's, as of this recording, like, I'm doing Shadow the Hedgehog every Thursday. It was a community goal, which is one of the other things I love about Twitch. Like, basically, the community goal. They voted for that, so let's do it. But yeah, twitch.tv, absolutely, I'm basically there. And on social media, on Twitter, and I'm on Instagram, @G to the next level. And you can definitely come find me there. I'm also on Discord, so if you ever want to talk to me on Discord, just hit me up, and I'll definitely send you a link for that.
Nice.
All right, and one other thing, I'm also writing a book. It's called Growing Up Genesis, where basically I'm chronicling the entire U.S. retail library of the Sega Genesis, basically chronicling it from A to Z, talking about my personal experiences with the games, retrospectives, talking about accessories, talking about variants. I'm looking to get some guest writers on it as well. It's just now getting started in the process, but I'm super excited about it. I've basically been rating the games on Twitch to get started so far. But yeah, I'm super excited about that too.
That's awesome, dude.
Awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that.
Yeah, that's it's both frightening and very exciting at the same time. So I never thought in my wildest dreams that, like, because it was funny, because when I went to Classic Game Fest and I was talking, because it was originally a YouTube series, which is another YouTube series I'm working on. But it was originally going to be like that, so I know this is another thing I'm actually very kind of scared about, because I know I'm immediately going to get comparisons to Frame Rater. I know I am. But the thing is that, look, he's not doing it. I don't see anybody else doing it. I don't see anybody else doing a review series. I'm basically talking about every Genesis game.
Yeah.
681 games. And you're talking like officially licensed. So I'm just like, yeah, I've basically going to rate them all from 1G to 5G. Like I said, if you ever stopped on Twitch, that's one of my channel point redemptions to make me rate a Genesis game. I've been highlighting every single one of those, so that way I can keep them for the YouTube video and for the book. So it makes the process so much easier. But yeah, it's gonna be awesome. I'm excited. I can't believe nobody's done it yet.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
it's
for
like,
real.
right, I'll
Yeah,
do
it's
it.
awesome, dude. Can't wait to see.
So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So make sure
Thank
you check that out as soon as it's available, which, of course, we'll be talking about in the future once you release it, bud.
Yeah, thank you.
So with that, we want to say...
Oh, Fry, real quick. 1 second.
yeah.
This Friday, the 20th? Yeah, the 20th. What do you call it? I'll be on the Retro Game Brews Twitch channel as part of a Stand Up to Cancer charity event. I should have mentioned this earlier. But
Nice.
So yeah, they're having a bunch of people to play Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, so I'll be on there for that. So make sure you're there to check that out.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Nice. All right, and with that, we want to say thank you to everyone who stayed tuned with us. If you haven't already, please make sure you subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that like button, comment below. We always love interacting with you guys. If you're listening on iTunes or Spotify, please hit subscribe. Give us a 5-star rating, and if you respond to us or you leave us a comment, we're obviously going to read it, and we'd love to interact. So with that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys.
Indeed. Cheers.
There we go.